I've practiced the Tao for over 20 years. And been struck by lightning 7 times. I've witnessed a true dragon emerge into the world. And I've torn apart the painted skins of fierce ghosts with my bare hands. But who would have thought that I used to be an idiot? They called me the village guardian. When I was 10, I went to Eagle Mountain to catch fish. Right after I jumped into the water, I felt something grab my ankle. Instinctively, I reached down to feel it. And to my horror, I pulled a skeleton right out of the water. My blood ran cold. Desperate, I tried to fling it onto the shore. But then, the skeleton suddenly moved. It blew a gust of black mist right into my face, and I blacked out immediately. For the next 8 years, my mind was in a complete haze. I spent every single day just staring blankly into space under the sun. As time went on, everyone started calling me the village idiot. Later, I realized I was being possessed by a sorcerer who wanted to use my body to be reborn. Staring into space under the sun was actually my way of absorbing yang energy. To break his grip, I had to release that yang energy. In the blink of an eye, several years flew by.
I turned 18. A 6-foot-1 blonde Russian girl walked right up to me and said, "So, this is the famous village idiot."
Having some fun with him might not be a bad idea. My family was rarely all gathered in the yard like this, but the moment I looked up, I noticed something deeply unsettling. Strangely, why was there a dark mist hovering over all of their heads? Just then, my dad spoke up with a heavy sigh. "I gathered you all here today because we need to talk." My oldest brother sensed something was off. "Dad, is your factory doing layoffs?" 2. My dad let out a long sigh. The notice came down from above. "Your Uncle Wang is the office director. He wants me to set an example for the others and voluntarily step down. He said he can get me a bigger severance package that way." I did some digging, and he said they could compensate me with 20,000 yuan. Back in those days, 20,000 was enough to build a 5-room brick house with plenty left over. My brother wasn't ready to let it go. "Is there really no way for you to stay? I've always felt Uncle Wang is a bit shady. What if you voluntarily resign and he doesn't give you a single dime?" My dad was clearly annoyed by my brother's skepticism. "Wagon money might be shrewd, but we've worked together for over 10 years. He would never stab me in the back. I gathered you all here today because I want to discuss what to Jial. Jin, I want to know which of you can take care of your youngest brother. Whoever looks after him best gets to keep that 20,000 yuan. Hearing my dad's words, a lump formed in my throat. But I held back, hiding the fact that I had finally regained my sanity. Standing nearby, my second brother chimed in, his voice buzzing with excitement. "If you ask me, Dad, you're worrying over nothing. Our little brother has been brain dead for 8 years now. What's there to look after? Just give the money to me. I'll go get some liquor from our distillery and turn it into 200,000 in no time. Now that is how you do real business." My dad snapped back, furious. "That's called illegal speculation." At that moment, the mist hovering over my dad's head turned an even deeper, darker shade of crimson. I had a terrible feeling that something awful was about to happen. Over the next few days, I combined the memories of that Daoist master and learned a technique, chanting the Daoist mantra while forming the hand seal of 6. Was this some kind of mental attack? Another exorcism method required a red string soaked in chicken blood. Meanwhile, at the factory office, my dad had just cornered Director Wang. "Old Wang, it's been half a month already. When are we getting that 20,000 yuan? Wang Yang looked incredibly annoyed. "What's your hurry? You think your family is the only one getting laid off? With that much money, we have to wait for approval from upstairs." My dad pointed right at Wang Wan's face and yelled, "But you're the one who told me to lead the charge!" Now all those laid-off workers are crowding my doorstep, demanding answers. Wang Yang threatened, "Get out, get out, get out! Go complain to whoever you want. Just get the hell out of my face," showing his true colors. Wang Yan ruthlessly threw my dad out. But back at our house, dozens of people were still tightly surrounding our front door. Auntie 6, leading the mob, shrieked, "If you hadn't promised us 20,000 yuan for resigning, do you think I would have quit? Look at us now." We signed the papers, and all my family got was 380 yuan. How are we supposed to survive? Because of that ominous black mist. I kept my eyes glued to my dad the entire time. Suddenly, my dad grabbed a kitchen knife and raised it toward his own neck. Oh no, he's trying to end his own life. Instantly, I threw my hands out, formed the seal, and roared, "Dao!" The black mist hovering above his head vanished. His eyes cleared up instantly. Stunned, he stared at the kitchen knife in his hand, completely frozen. That Daoist master's magic actually worked. But Auntie 6 just stood there with her hands on her hips, refusing to let him off the hook. "Holding a knife now, are we? What? Trying to threaten us?" To make matters worse, my dad's apprentice Yang Kai piped up angrily. "Master, look, I've been loyal to you for a whole year. Now I've even lost my job. You can't just leave me with absolutely nothing." My father pointed a trembling finger at Yang Kai and yelled, "Yang Kai, how can you say that to me? Last year's outstanding employee award was supposed to be mine. I gained it up for you, just to help your career. Forget about the honor. That was a solid 301 in cash." But Yang Kai didn't appreciate it at all. "Isn't it just 300 bucks? Do you expect me to bow down and thank you for the rest of my life?" Stabbed in the back by his own apprentice, my father was so furious he couldn't even speak. I knew I couldn't play dumb anymore. I quickly stepped in front of my father. "How exactly do you all want to settle this?" 杨开小指人少，一个小意。哟，
又让一劫人某。
I don't care if you're a fool or not. You fungs either cough up the money or don't blame me for throwing our years of being neighbors out the window. We go straight to the police and report you. Yeah, go report them. This whole family is rotten to the core. Hearing this, I let out a cold laugh. How did you know I was planning to go to the police station? Dozens of you are blocking my front door. I'd love to see if the law has something to say about this. Seeing the tables turn, Yang Kai panicked. He quickly whispered to An Leo next to him. These days, trespassing is a serious crime. Not to mention we have so many people. So, Ninning, you tell us. How do we solve this? I suspended my gaze over the crowd. The truth is, my dad was also scammed by Wang Yan. He worked at the printing factory for nearly 20 years. But in the end, he resigned and got absolutely nothing. Wait, didn't they say 20,000? And you. My dad only had 3 or 4 years left before retirement. With his seniority, there was no need for him to get involved in this mess. The reason he announced his resignation was first, because he was tricked by Wang Yan, and second, to respond to the national call. If you all still feel my dad's actions affected you, we can go to the police station right now. Surely there are reasonable officers there. Everyone looked at each other in silence. Look, we can't go to the police. Just considered our bad luck. Although the dozens of workers were unwilling, they had no choice but to disperse, one by one. Once everyone had left, my dad stared at me with a deadly serious expression. Son, tell your dad the truth. Are you normal now? Will you stay foolish? Dad, I'm not a fool anymore, but some things have changed. I can't say too much. If I told him about those experiences, I would definitely be sent straight to a mental asylum. But my mom thought I was possessed by some evil spirit. So the very next day, she dragged me to the temple to pray. But just as I was about to kneel and kowtow, my knees stiffened. I couldn't bend them no matter how hard I tried. Seeing Vervin on the spot, my mom lost her temper. She snapped. You brat! Hurry up and kneel. Show some respect to the Buddha. I slowly, stiffly looked up. And to my absolute horror, the giant Buddha statue in the hall had actually turned its back on me. I swallowed hard and tugged on my mom's sleeve. Mom, did you see that? She looked in the direction of my finger, thoroughly confused. Then, her face paled. She slapped my hand away. Have you lost your manners, boy? You never point your finger at the Buddha. It's highly disrespectful. What on earth are you asking me to look at? Everything is perfectly normal. With that, she knelt on the cushion and began praying devoutly, chanting, Amitabha, Amitabha. Please bless us, Buddha. And please don't be angry with my boy. He used to be a fool. He hasn't fully recovered yet. Please, do not take offense. I sighed inwardly. So now, I was absolutely sure I was the only one who could see what the statue had done. On the walk back home, my mind raced with the bizarre events at the temple. Then, it finally clicked. It wasn't that the Buddha rejected us. It was because I had inherited the ancient Daoist legacy. The Grandmaster wouldn't allow me to bow to a Buddhist deity. Daoists do not bow to Buddha. This realization only solidified my— Before long, the news of the Gal family calling off our engagement spread like wildfire, and the rumors only grew more ridiculous by the day. Some claimed I was still a half-witted fool. Others said I was completely insane. Some even whispered that I was impotent. My mom was worried sick every single day. But my dad, for the first time in his life, dragged me out to have a drink. Lai Yao, what are your plans for the future? It was right in the middle of the day. Dad tossed a peanut into his mouth as we drank together. Father and son, I want to do some more reading first, then decide. I didn't hide my intentions. The more books I read, the better I can piece together the memories of the ancient master. Wait, do you want to go to college? Dad looked utterly shocked. I'm considering it. I lied to him. I couldn't tell him my real goal. Though, if the opportunity arises, taking the exam wouldn't hurt.
漏药，公示了小河门注意点，特别避了猫药。
But our Feng family, we've been nothing but servants for generations. We don't stand a chance. I heard that getting into college requires a recommendation. Dad shook his head. I knew Dad was talking about the rules from over 10 years ago. The college entrance exam has been restored for a long time now, but I didn't see a word. Honestly, I never planned on taking the exam anyway. I already talked to your third uncle. He runs a pig farm. Go work for him. You are going to work with a knob. He'll pay you 50 yen a month, and it's close to home. It's settled then, Dad declared, making the final decision. He didn't even bother to ask if I agreed. I didn't argue. Right now, my priority was reading my books and cultivating. So working at the pig farm was fine by me. Just like that, I started working at my uncle's pig farm. The farm was up on the mountain, about 5 miles away from home. Over the next month or so, I split my time between raising pigs and studying my ancient books. My abilities grew by leaps and bounds. I mastered the rebirth mantra and all kinds of talismans, and even unlocked the secrets of the primordial 5 thunder scripture. It's an internal cultivation method that absorbs spiritual energy and converts it into pure magic power, completely transforming my body. My uncle's pigs were free range. And at first, my uncle and aunt couldn't stand me. They saw me as nothing but a burden and would even starve me on purpose. But I didn't care. Thanks to my cultivation, my appetite had shrunk and my physical strength had soared. I even started using Daoist magic to manage the pigs. I started with obedience talismans. But as my magic power grew, I only had to chant a few words of the mantra to make them obey. I didn't have to lift a finger to watch them. As time went on, my uncle and aunt completely changed their attitude. They started making me delicious meals and even bought me brand new clothes. He even left me in complete charge of the pig farm. I thought I'd have a peaceful run until New Year's, but the sudden appearance of a wealthy woman shattered that peace. In early October, when the pigs were almost ready for market, I decided to practice the lightning strike art. It required a sword to channel the lightning. To my surprise, on a perfectly clear day, a bolt of lightning actually struck down, blasting the tree next to me into charred. Lightning struck wood. What did you just do? A voice suddenly came from behind me. I seized that sword and turned around, only to see a gorgeous woman in her early 20s standing about 3 meters away. She had an elegant, graceful air about her, dressed in high-end fashion I'd never even seen before. Sizing me up, I asked expressionlessly, "Who are you? What do you want?" The woman raised an eyebrow coldly, but quickly regained her composure. "My name is Leah. I'm here to choose some pigs." I caught a glimpse of a Toyota Crown parked behind her, the exact car my second brother always talked about wanting to buy. We couldn't find a single one in the entire city of Haikeng. Looks like she wasn't lying. "I only raised the pig. If you want to buy them, you'll have to wait for my third uncle, Senshin. Which one do you want to look at?" Leah glanced at the lightning-struck tree and shook her head. "All right then. Sorry to trouble you, but I need to take a closer look." I called out to the pigs resting nearby. "All right, break's over, everyone. Come over and line up. Someone's here to pick you out." No sooner had I said that, then over 40 spotted pigs immediately got up, lining up in perfect order and marching right up to Leah. Leah stood there in utter disbelief, her eyes nearly popping out of her head. I asked, puzzled, "What's wrong? Is there a problem? Doesn't this make things easier for you?" I think my eyes must be playing tricks on me. I then ordered the pigs to step forward one by one in line. Leah covered her mouth in absolute shock. That's just how I raise my pigs. She saw I had real spiritual skills, so she wanted me to try and help. We arrived at a European-style manor in the suburbs of Haikeng. The security at the entrance was on extremely high alert. In the bedroom, I saw Guoyi lying in bed, with his left eye wrapped in bandages. "Leah, you're here. Have a seat." "This is from Gin, the master I brought to help you." Guoyi glanced at me, his face souring. "Leah, I know you want me to look on the bright side, but you didn't have to drag some beggar off the street to fool me. The cheap roadside stall clothes he's wearing probably didn't even cost $10. What kind of master looks like this?" Leah quickly shot him a warning look. "Gui, he is a real master. Stop talking nonsense." Then she turned to apologize to me. "Fengyin, please don't be angry. My friend is just blunt and speaks without thinking. He doesn't mean any harm." I shook my head. Since there was money on the line, I didn't bother to argue. "You didn't give him money again, did you?" Go-I asked suddenly. "Gui, trust me. Fengyin really is a master. The pigs he raises." Gui suddenly cut her off, pointing at me. "He's not that pig farmer from the Feng family, is he?" "Seriously, Leah? You're the eldest daughter of the prestigious Li family from the capital." He stopped mid-sentence, his expression turning complex. By now, I had already spotted the issue. A blind mountain demon was clinging to Guoyi, and its other eye was about to fester. I walked up to him, my face grave. "Did you run into a wild ape demon recently?" "What wild ape demon?" "A mountain demon. Some call it a mountain ghost. They have bright red noses, and they stand over a meter tall, baring their teeth." Guoyi bolted upright in bed, nodding frantically. Yes, I think I did. Up on Eagle Mountain. I thought it was just a monkey. I chased after it, wanting to catch it. But when I got close, it scared the life out of me. It even slapped me right across the face. Ever since I got back, my eyes have been failing me. Master, is there any hope for me? The moment I heard Eagle Mountain, I was instantly on high alert. Years ago, when my soul was nearly possessed, it was connected to that time I went scavenging at Eagle Mountain. Give me the details. Give me the details. What were you doing at Eagle Mountain? And how did you run into a mountain demon? Otherwise, there's nothing I can do to help. Gulhe hesitated for a moment. Then he confessed. I bought a treasure map from Master Dao and went to Eagle Mountain to search for treasure. Not only did we find nothing to need to be just, but I only brought back this single bell. With that, he reached under his pillow, pulled out a small brass bell, and handed it to me. The bell looked ordinary, but it felt incredibly heavy. I gave it a shake. The clapper struck the sides, but it didn't make a single sound. I instantly went on high alert. This thing was pure evil. It's a good thing you ran into me. Otherwise, losing your sight would have been the least of your worries. This bell is highly malevolent. And you actually dared to keep it under your pillow? I told Guoyi to prepare a table, some rice, candles, rooster blood, and a thick red cord about 2.5 meters long. Half an hour later, everything was ready. I set up the table, lit the candles, and soaked the red cord in the rooster blood. I tied one end around Guoyi's wrist and the other end to the door. The rest of the ritual was just for show, purely meant to make him thoroughly convinced and ready. I glared at the mountain demon and began chanting my spell. Finally, I gave a sharp shout. Begone, foul beast! In an instant, the mountain demon exploded, turning into black ash and dispersing with a flash of golden light. I can see! I can see again! Guoyi frantically ripped off his bandages, ecstatic. He started jumping up and down on the bed. Leah looked utterly amazed. I knew it! I knew you were a true master. I didn't say a word. My heart felt heavy. I turned down Goyi's gratitude and his invitation to stay. All that was left was to collect the final payment. Leah offered to give me a ride, and I didn't refuse. Once we were in the car, Leah started advising me. Fengning, you shouldn't have turned down Guo Xiao's goodwill. Knowing him can save you a lot of trouble around Haikang. I cut straight to the point. Where's my money? Leah froze for a second, then laughed. You really are something else. She pulled out $80,000 and handed it to me, only to teasingly pull it back. I stared at her, confused. She giggled. Hey, I gave you my word, so of course I'll keep it. $100,000 is nothing to me anyway. By the way, do you know about Tangong? In my memories as a mystic, there was a deep dread of that place, but I didn't know the details, so I could only stay silent. Leah stuffed the money into my hands. All right, I'll stop teasing you. Since you won't be friends with Guo Yi, can you at least be friends with me? I was just wondering where to put all this cash when Leah handed me her leather bag. Here, use this. I only found out later that it was a Chanel bag worth $30,000. I packed the money inside and said, thank you. I thanked her politely, and she replied, you're welcome. By the way, what actually happened to Guo Yi? I saw you set up an altar, chanting some incantations, and then, suddenly, he was cured. What was that? Was it magic? Do you really know magic? If it's magic, do you absolutely have to follow all those steps? Could I do it too? I answered her honestly. He was possessed by a blind mountain demon. I was just performing an exorcism. The whole ritual was just made up. All it really takes is tying the red string and reciting the incantation. Leah's jaw dropped. And the bell? Don't tell me that story was made up too. I closed my eyes and didn't answer, not wanting to reveal anymore. You're definitely hiding something from me. Leah pouted and drove me home in silence. After getting out, I tapped on the window. I need to warn you about something. I really don't like the aura around you. Being close to you makes me feel uncomfortable. You'd better keep an eye out. Leah was stunned for a moment, but then she smiled. Oh, so that's why. All right, I forgive you then. With that, she hit the gas and drove away. Night fell. The moment I walked through the door, I saw my dad and my third uncle drinking. My mom was comforting my third aunt. It must have been about the pig farm. When they saw me come back, everyone turned to look at me. My third uncle and third aunt stared at me with pure resentment. Pointing at me, my dad barked, "Come over here and apologize to your uncle and aunt." I stepped forward. I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I apologize? My dad glared at me in fury. You've got some nerve. How dare you talk back to me? He raised his hand, about to hit me. My third uncle stepped in, playing the saint as he held my dad back. Big brother, forget it. Let it go. He's still just a kid. Look, even though we lost 2 pigs. Sighing, my third aunt also wiped her tears. Big brother, your brother and I worked so hard for that money. To lose 2 pigs all of a sudden, that is nearly 1,000 yuan. This kid stayed with us for over a month. I fed him, housed him, and even bought him new clothes. But look what he did. He just walked out on us. He even scared our pigs away. I scoffed, amused by their sheer audacity. I sneered at my uncle and aunt. Didn't you say your pigs were incredibly easy to manage? And how come they ran away the moment I walked out? Hearing this, my third aunt was instantly tongue-tied. How can you talk to me like that? When did your aunt ever say such a thing? My third uncle glared at me, his eyes burning with anger. I exposed exactly how my uncle and aunt had forced me, how they verbally abused me, and how they starved me. I told every single detail, word for word. The 2 of them froze instantly. My dad and mom also fell dead silent. Seeing how furious my dad looked, my third uncle quickly forced a smile. Big brother, don't listen to Fengming's nonsense. How could I ever say such things? My third aunt chimed in hastily. Yes, big brother. Look, we didn't come all this way just to demand money for the pigs. We just came to vent, a little, that's all. Big brother, you can't believe a word Nini says. He's lying. He's been lying since we were back on the mountain. My dad frowned. Old third, what are you trying to say? Do you think I don't know my own son's character? Third uncle got even more nervous. Big brother, this must be a misunderstanding. Even my mother got angry. Old third, no matter what, you can't go around calling Nini an idiot. He is your own nephew. Seeing third uncle and third aunt breaking out in a cold sweat, most of my anger faded. After all, he is my dad's own brother. I grabbed a piece of paper and casually drew a talisman, attached the mantra to it, and handed it over. Ning, my dad called out, looking quite displeased. What is this? Third uncle's eyes were full of resentment, but he didn't dare to snap. Third uncle, I said, go back to the mountain, burn this, and shout the word Dao. The pigs you lost will return on their own. With my current level of cultivation, performing these low-level techniques is quite easy. I had already cast a mantra on those pigs beforehand, so they will naturally return the moment they hear it. And sneered, oh please, Ninging, just messing around. We lost 2 whole pigs. Do you think we just misplaced 2 kids? You think they'll just run back because you called? If they don't come back, I'll pay you, I said, my tone dead serious. Third aunt's eyes lit up, but she obviously didn't believe me. My dad spoke up. Sister-in-law, just take it and give it a try. If it doesn't work, I, as his father, will pay you back, my dad said in a deep voice. Third aunt wanted to say more, but she was dragged away by third uncle. I was just about to say something to my dad, but he waved his hand. Lo Yao, this isn't your fault. I know exactly what kind of people your third uncle and his wife are. If we have to pay a little money, so be it. I didn't bother explaining. Seeing some leftovers on the table, I sat down to eat. My mother brought over some reheated food. You silly child, I kept some warm for you in the pot. He watched me eat, nagging all the while. Lo Ya, don't blame your dad for yelling at you. He's just a man who cares way too much about saving face. The truth? He never actually blamed you, from the very beginning. He said if you didn't have what it takes, you wouldn't have lasted 3 days at your third uncle's, let alone a whole month. There must have been a good reason for you to leave. After dinner, Dad had a few words with me, saying third uncle and third aunt wanted to hire me back. They were even willing to raise my pay. I figured they couldn't handle the workload once I left, and their easy days were over. I just sneered and refused. Then I pulled out 20,000 yuan and placed it right in front of Dad. He instantly froze in shock. Where on earth did you get all this money? I lied, telling him I had helped someone with a spiritual reading and got everything spot on, so they paid me this much. Dad sighed and didn't ask any more questions. After trying to push it back to me for a while, he finally accepted it, saying he would save it to help me find a wife. That night, I had a rare dream. I dreamed about what happened with Sophia at the hotel. When I woke up, I couldn't help but feel a bit embarrassed. First thing the next morning, third uncle and third aunt rushed over in a panic. The way they looked at me was filled with deep respect.
Friend aunt kept apologizing over and over.
And third uncle was so desperate, he almost fell to his knees in front of me. My dear nephew, you are truly a living deity descended to earth. My dad asked, utterly confused. Third brother, what on earth is going on? Big brother, you have no idea. I went back and burned the talisman, did exactly what my nephew told me to do, and Shuzhen actually came back on her own. But this morning was even more bizarre. The pigs actually lined up in a neat row to walk up the mountain to eat, and once they finished, they just lay down quietly. Nephew, your uncle was wrong. I was so wrong. She should know she was wrong too. Third aunt quickly chimed in. Yes, nephew, please, just come back with us. I'll give you 100 yuan a month. And the sows are about to give birth soon. I'll leave them all in your hands. You can run things however you want, and we won't interfere at all. My mother listened to them, completely lost. Though Dad was shocked, he managed to stay relatively calm, but the way he looked at me had completely changed. I ignored their flattery. I focused my gaze to take a closer look and spotted the spiritual aura hovering over their heads. Over third aunt's head, there was a colorful aura, and it's even laced with black, a clear sign that misfortune is coming for him. My third uncle's aura is a pale yellow, but it's slowly fading away. His wealth is about to tank, and there's a massive cloud of gray hovering right over his head. Third uncle, third aunt, since the pig has been found, we don't have to pay you anymore, right? I said coldly. No need.
Of course you don't.
Beaming. I never even thought of demanding money. Third aunt blurted out instantly. Well, that's great then. Dad, Mom, I'm going to buy some books. You guys go ahead and talk. I turned to leave. But before I walked away, I took another glance at third aunt's aura. It was incredibly colorful, so bright it was blinding. I couldn't help but wonder if the 3 kids in third uncle's house are actually his. The moment I stepped out of the house, third uncle chased after me, grabbed my hand and asked desperately, Feng, did you notice something? Tell me please. We're family. If you don't tell me, I won't be able to sleep a wink. I looked down at his hand and said calmly, Third uncle, some things are best left alone. Just let nature take its course. Mimyu, what on earth is going on? Why can't you just tell me? We're family. Third uncle's face was written with pure panic. I didn't bother replying. I just walked straight away. He certainly didn't care about being family when he gave us attitude and barged into our house demanding rent. By now, it was already October. The autumn leaves were withered and falling, and a chilly wind was blowing in gusts. My house is 5 kilometers away from the city center. It usually takes 30 to 40 minutes to walk there. But now, after practicing the Tao, I walk as fast as the wind. In just about 20 minutes, I was almost there. On my way, I stopped by a newsstand. The owner was a man in his 40s with big yellow teeth. He leaned in close with a shifty rat-like expression and whispered, Hey, young man, want to make some quick cash? I asked. What kind of cash? I asked. Big yellow teeth looked around cautiously, lowering his voice. I've got some documents a smuggler brought back from Russia. Bought them for 500. I'll let you have them for 400. You find some scholar to resell them to, and you're guaranteed to make over 1,000. My heart skipped a beat, but I feigned caution and said, Let me have a look. Big yellow teeth hurriedly pulled a tattered piece of parchment from the kiosk and shoved it into my hand. With just one glance, my heart started pounding. I had never seen the writing on this parchment before, yet I understood every single word. Energy is not food. The golden crow in the sky, chaos in the universe. These few short words actually gave me a clear, new understanding of the chaotic universe. Mankind. And the sun. Well, good stuff, right? Big yellow teeth smirked slyly. I purposely shoved the parchment back. I don't understand this crap. It's probably not worth a dime. Think you can scam me. Big yellow teeth grew anxious. Look, brother, how much can you give? Just give me a straight number. I pulled out over 200 yuan, pointed at the Story King magazine, and asked, how much for this? Big Yellow Teeth's eyes lit up. He shoved the parchment into my hands, snatched the cash, and said, brother, these books are yours, and I'll throw in the parchment as a freebie. Now off you go. Go on. I had only walked a few steps when I heard him mutter, thank goodness I ran into an idiot to take this piece of junk off my hands. Now, I can finally rest easy. I don't even know whose house that old dog stole it from. I smiled to myself, but I didn't dwell on it, creating it as a stroke of destiny. Over the next few days, I barely stepped foot outside, focusing entirely on reading. Before long, disaster struck Third Uncle's family. At the dinner table, my mother sighed. Oh, who would have thought? Just a few days ago, Third Uncle's wife was here making a huge scene. And now, in just a blink of an eye, she's the laughingstock everyone is gossiping about. You really can't judge people by appearances. My father fell silent for a moment, then looked at me with a complicated expression. Son, did you predict this all along? He was probably remembering what I had said that day. I understood how my father felt. Even though I was no longer a fool, yet there was still something a bit paranoid and superstitious about it. He was bound to get worked up over it. I hesitated for a moment, but I still decided to warn him. Dad, whatever you do, you and Mom stay out of Third Uncle's business. To be honest, those 3 kids of his might not even be his. They look decent enough, but you can see hints of other men in all their faces. It's definitely no coincidence. My dad's bowl slammed down hard on the table, and he stood up with a loud crash. His eyes blazed with anger as he glared at me. What did you just say? I shook my head. Dad, this whole thing is way too complicated. Even though you're the oldest brother, inferring will only be a thankless job that brings you trouble. My Mai chimed in. He's right, dear. Lao Yao is right. We're barely scraping by ourselves. Our oldest is driving a motorcycle taxi and making no money. And our second is just a lazy, good-for-nothing slacker. Don't go bringing trouble upon ourselves. My dad finally calmed down. Unlit a cigarette. Looking suddenly much older, he muttered. I know. I've been laid off for over a month now. I managed to find a job as a gatekeeper. It pays 45 yuan a month, with room and board included. But as he said this, his eyes darted away. He probably still couldn't let go of his old secure job, and the drop in status was eating away at him. With that, he walked out the door. No, Yao. I also found a job. Washing dishes at a hotel for over 40 yuan a month. I won't be coming home as often from now on, so make sure to take care of yourself. My mom's words snapped me out of my thoughts. I wanted to tell her that I had money, but the words caught in my throat, and I swallowed them back down. I had already given my dad 20,000 yuan, and deep down, they both knew it. After my parents left, I was the only one left in the house. Apart from reading books, I did nothing but study the parchment and that leader. But I came up completely empty-handed. 2 more days passed. The weather grew even colder. Snowflakes even started to drift down. I dug out my old clothes, only to find they were all too small now. They were all hand-me-downs from my older brother and sister. Back then, most youngest kids in Northeast China lived just like that. I was just about to head out to buy some new clothes and grab a couple of things for my parents too while I was at it, when suddenly, 8 or 9 guys barged into the courtyard. Every single one of them was tall and heavily built. To my surprise, Big Yellow Teeth was among them, pinned down by 2 burly men. Beside them, a guy from the customer service office was beaten black and blue. Who are you? I asked, frowning. So you're the one who bought that parchment. A 6'3" bearded giant, wielding a machete, pointed it at me. Brother Ba, he's the one who bought it. Big Yellow Teeth, his face covered in blood, looked trembling toward a scarred, middle-aged man. How dare you touch Brother Ba's things? Chop his hands off first. Brother Ba shot a glance at the bearded giant. Brother Ba, please! He's just a kid. Please, just let him go. Big Yellow Teeth was having a sudden attack of conscience. Oh? Feeling charitable? Brother Ba sneered coldly. Should we chop? Big Yellow Teeth shut his mouth instantly. The bearded giant closed in with his machete, radiating a suffocating aura of pure killing intent. This man has definitely killed before. I knew begging for mercy would be useless. Fortunately, my parents weren't home. The moment he stepped into range, I channeled my inner power and launched a flying kick, sending him flying straight into the wall. He collapsed, groaning in agonizing pain, unable to move. Everyone was completely stunned. Taking advantage of their shock, I struck first. In just a few moves, I easily took down the rest of them. Finally, I walked right up to Brother Ba. Brother Ba was visibly panicking, tried desperately to keep his composure. Brother, I'm Brother Ba from the Dream Paris Ballroom in the south of the city. Hand over the parchment, and let's bury the hatchet. What do you say? I shook my head, remaining silent. Once you make a move, there's no need for further explanations. Brother, you should know when to show mercy and let things go. That parchment belongs to young Master Guo Yi. If you don't hand it over, people are going to die. They can use Guozhang to intimidate us. Yellow Tooth and Skinny Monkey's faces turned deathly pale with fear. Yellow Tooth trembled. Brother, just give a parchment to Gaja. I'll give you your money back. I don't want to die. Yeah, brother. Please, don't cross young Master Guo. I was too greedy. I shouldn't have touched the Buddhist heir's things. I deserve to die. Skinny Monkey begged, trembling all over. Since you know it belongs to the Buddhist heir, why haven't you? Bag was about to gloat when I cut him off. Since it's Goi's, tell him to come get it himself.
With a sickening crack, I snapped Baggy's arm.
He broke into a cold sweat from the excruciating pain, but he didn't utter a single groan.
Talk all the trash you want. You think you're tough? He growled.
Let's see how tough you act when the Buddhist heir gets here. He pulled out a bulky brick phone and made a call. Over 20 minutes later,
Guhai barged in with about a dozen fierce-looking thugs.
they clearly meant trouble. Suddenly, Gui gasped. Master Feng!
Gui spotted in the instantly.
Ignoring Buggy, who was rushing over,
He hurried toward me.
his attitude, respectful yet shocked. Young Master Guo, what is the meaning of this? Sending your men to threaten and attack me? I said with displeasure. I wouldn't dare, Master Feng. This is a misunderstanding. A total misunderstanding. Gui looked extremely anxious and whipped his head around to glare at Ge. Scarface, I told you to find the item. How on earth did you end up barging into Master Feng's house? Give me a damn good explanation right now, or you're dead. Everyone present was completely dumbfounded.
Becky's face was a picture of sheer disbelief.
Trembling, he stammered out the whole story. Gui frowned and barked. It's just a single document.
If Master Feng wants it, just let him have it. Scarface, Master Feng is my savior.
From now on, you will respect him, just like you respect me and my father. Do you understand? I got it. Oh, noted frantically.
Gui turned back to me, his tone incredibly humble.
Master, this was all a misunderstanding. Please tell me, how can I make this up to you? I won't say another word, and there's no need to pay me back. It's not like there was any real damage. Let's just leave it at that. I said coldly, aren't you going to thank Master Feng?
Gui glared at Brother Ba.
Brother Ba quickly bowed to thank me. Then, Gui signaled his men to take them away, but he stayed behind. So, is there something else? I asked calmly.
Gui nodded.
Master, I want to beg you to take me somewhere. Once I return safely and the job is done, 200,000? Eagle Mountain? I blurted out. Last time, Gui was acting incredibly hesitant about it. I had a gut feeling that this was far from simple. This might be related to what happened to me when I was 10 years old.
Gui nodded.
Then, he shot a vicious glare at Big Yellow Teeth and Beast Monkey lying on the ground, scaring them so badly they almost fainted. Let's talk inside, I said. I brewed a pot of Huang herbal tea. This was just an ordinary tea that common folks drank. Even though Gui Qi came from a wealthy background,
He still took a mindful sip.
Go ahead. What's this really about?
I got straight to the point. Gui looked at me.
And slowly spoke. Master Feng, you have heard of those ancient folk traditions from the north, right? I've heard some rumors on the streets about some extraordinary people and bizarre events, I replied. But I didn't entirely believe those rumors.
Greg smiled. Master Feng,
Those are just stories for outsiders. With your abilities, you should be able to see right through them. I shook my head. I'm only 18. I've only been involved in this for a little over a month. How could I possibly know that much? There were some things I couldn't tell the truth about. My secrets had to be kept hidden for the rest of my life.
Gui sat up straight. Master Feng, those so-called extraordinary people spoken of in the streets.
They aren't actually about spooky or superstitious nonsense. The real term for them is 1 lineage, 4 crafts. Some are masters of reading people, possessing incredibly sharp minds. Some understand ancient teachings and classics, preserving traditions from fading away. Some guard their ancestral lands, possessing deep knowledge of geography. And some harbor grand and others excel at locating treasures, finding opportunities, and seeking paths to wealth. To put it plainly, they are all just humans. They just each have their own unique areas of expertise. It's just rumors of the Swanlu. In reality, they are all just skills passed down by our ancestors.
Intrigued, I nodded. So that's how it is.
My family's branch has always made a living by finding hidden lands and seeking treasures.
To outsiders, it looks no different from chasing wealth.
So it was eventually rumored to be related to fortune and luck. I sneered in my heart. It's nothing but unorthodox tricks, yet he makes it sound so noble and high-minded. Still, I didn't dare underestimate their heritage. Eagle Mountain. I read in some ancient records that there are very old artifacts in those mountains, and I want to get some samples. Last time, we couldn't even find the entrance, before we were driven back by the wild deer. A trace of lingering fear flashed in his eyes as he spoke. He picked up his teacup and took a sip, then quickly added, Master, I brought my own men. You won't have to lift a finger. I only need you to stand by and keep me safe. 200,000? No, 300,000. What do you say?
I glanced at Gua.
I knew he was clearly hiding something, but I had to go to Eagle Mountain sooner or later anyway. With organizing the team, it actually saved me a lot of trouble. So, I agreed right away. Go-Hee was both surprised and overjoyed. He immediately promised to drive over and pick me up at 8 o'clock the next morning. Only after he left did I remember Big Yellow Teeth and Skinny Monkey in the yard. Although they were the ones who started this mess, they looked so utterly pathetic that I ultimately decided to let them go. The next day, Gui arrived right on time. 2 white vans parked right outside my door. I got to Gui's car, and our group headed straight for Eagle Mountain. Returning to this place after 8 years, I stepped out of the car and looked at the familiar trees and hills. My heart was still filled with mixed emotions. Winter had already arrived, so the trees and grass were withered and yellow.
The desolate landscape all around carried a biting, cold chill.
There were 17 of us in total. 10 of them were burly men who served as our drivers and security detail.
With me included.
There was Goi, plus 3 men and 2 women. 5 highly unusual individuals. The 3 men from the south didn't stop chattering the entire way, while the other 2,
One was a woman from the imperial capital.
And the other was a woman from Shenzhen.
none of these 5 were ordinary folks,
Especially that woman from Shenzhen.
Her aura was incredibly striking.
making it impossible to read her depth at first glance.
Is he even reliable? Dressed so shabbily, his entire outfit probably isn't even worth $10.
What did you even bring him along for?
The moment they got off the car, the woman from the imperial capital pulled Guo Yi aside.
Though her voice was low, she deliberately made sure everyone around could hear. Rose, I warned you.
The person I brought isn't going on the frontline exploration with you. He has nothing to do with you.
So stop making wild guesses here.
Dao Yi frowned.
The woman snorted softly. You folks who spend all year in the wild sure talk tough. Just because people show you a bit of respect, you actually think you're some big shot.
Fine, I won't ask.
But let me warn you too, whatever is inside is incredibly sinister. He'd better not get in our way when the time comes.
Rose isn't afraid.
Goi shot back as he actively took the lead.
With a grim expression,
Gui walked over to me with an apologetic smile. Master, please don't take her words to heart. She's just got that kind of temper.
I nodded. My task is to keep him safe.
There's no need to care about what others say.
Once we entered the mountains, I realized the path they chose was the exact same trail I used to catch fish back in the day. And their destination was, unbelievably, the very river where I first came into this world, nestled against the mountains and alongside the waters, stretching out endlessly. A towering range from the front and a sharp peak from the side.
The Buddhist master was right. This is indeed a true dragon vein. This is absolutely unbelievable.
Among the 3 men, a middle-aged, scholar-looking man with a pipe in his mouth said in shock, "Rumor has it that the Jew Emperor's faction severed all the dragon veins in the northeast.
By all rights, only one should have survived. Yet, here is an even bigger one. Look up at the sky. It's clearly midday, yet there are auspicious, colorful clouds.
This is a dragon that has truly taken shape."
Another 40-something man with a thick beard pointed at the sky and said,
Looking in that direction, there was indeed an ominous, dark energy looming.
"For you two to join us on this expedition." Dohi walked over.
It's hard to say.
For a place as small as a palm, this Yen mountain has an endless, imposing presence.
This is a dragon vein, no doubt about it.
But it's a dragon vein that's hiding a pearl. Its body is buried beneath the earth.
If I'm not mistaken, this is its head. And the entirety of Yin Mountain is only the part above its eyes.
According to the 8 trigrams, when mountains trap the wind, the air flows smoothly. And when water flows endlessly, it becomes spirited.
The wind is steady here,
But this water has no source.
That is a major problem.
The old scholar shook his head,
his eyes filled with dread.
A heavy silence fell over the group.
Rose asked impatiently, "So are we doing this or not?
We've made such a huge fuss. Don't tell me we came all this way for nothing." The old scholar and the bearded man exchanged a look and said in unison, "Do it!"
Then the 2 of them arranged for the 10 burly men to plant explosives along the riverbank in the woods.
Rose stayed behind to command.
While we retreated to a safe zone, the old scholar shouted into the walkie-talkie, "Blow it, Eagle!"
A deafening boom echoed through the mountains,
sounding just like thunder.
Immediately after, a panicked voice cried out over the walkie-talkie, "This is too creepy!
This is so fucking creepy. Something's gone wrong. Something's gone terribly wrong."
What happened?
The old scholar asked urgently.
"The river has been blown wide open. There's something deep inside the river. I think I saw a foot chained up. And on that foot, there's an embroidered shoe." The voice on the other end of the walkie-talkie was trembling violently. The old scholar and the bearded man stared at each other in sheer disbelief,
Clearly not expecting this at all.
Then the walkie-talkie sputtered with static and went completely dead. The bearded man grew frantic, shouting out Rose's real name, Anan. Even though Anan and the others were terrified, they still rushed back to the blast site.
There, they found Yin Mountain completely devastated by the explosion.
The river diverted, and not a single trace of the blood well, even then Wu Yi brought along, had completely vanished. The surroundings were eerily quiet.
"Hurry, go find Rose."
Old Su calmly ordered Gui to split his men up and search. I stayed right behind him,
Constantly feeling like someone was watching me.
It was the same bone-chilling dread I felt when I was almost possessed years ago.
"Master, did you find something?"
Gui asked nervously. I replied, "I feel like someone is watching us."
Just as the words left my mouth,
That terrifying sensation struck again. I whipped my head toward the south. Standing under an old locust tree about 10 meters away was a little girl in a blood-red dress. She had no eyes. My skin crawled with sheer terror. In the next second, the little girl vanished.
"Master, what's wrong?"
"Don't scare me," Gui stammered, his face turning pale. I snapped out of it and said flatly, "That thing is beyond my power to handle. The people who vanished. It must be because of her."
Suddenly, I remembered the embroidered shoes mentioned over the walkie-talkie. That little girl just now. She was wearing a pair of embroidered shoes. "Master, are you okay?"
"Did you say
You saw the embroidered shoes?
Please, don't scare me. My skin is literally crawling right now.
Boy's face looked absolutely ghastly.
You're Master Guo. If you believe me, we need to leave right now. Once that thing starts taking people, it'll be too late. None of us will make it out alive.
I warned him, but he muttered, "Bud, both hallmasters have already ordered to open the mountain. If we don't take the prize, it'll be a complete waste."
Gui hesitated, clearly blinded by greed.
It was only later that I realized their so-called oil stealing was actually the shameless looting of sacred treasures from mystical sanctuaries.
And they wouldn't even spare the dead.
I said coldly. Young Master Guo, I'm going to be straight with you. That thing is extremely dangerous.
I can only do my best to keep you alive.
If I can't keep them safe,
Don't blame me.
Gui gritted his teeth.
and finally, nodded.
Before long, someone shouted that they found Rose.
We rushed over as fast as we could. Gui shook her hard to wake her up, but she was barely conscious.
Rose, what on earth is going on?
Where are the others?
The old scholar asked solemnly.
I don't remember either.
Did you tell them to dig a hole?
I was keeping an eye on things nearby. Once I checked and made sure everything was fine, I ran over here, but then I tripped and knocked out.
Rose knocked her head hard, trying to remember.
Right then, the woman from Shen City suddenly turned pale, pointing behind the old scholar. Behind you! What's behind me?
The old scholar swallowed hard.
No one else saw anything unusual, but the tension in the air skyrocketed. A chill ran down my spine. Instinctively, I grabbed Guai's arm and pulled the woman from Shen City along with me.
Dashing 10 meters away in just 3 or 4 bounds.
Immediately, blood-curdling screams echoed from behind. I didn't dare to look back, stumbling all the way to the car before finally breathing a sigh of relief. Too late. It's too late. There's no response. Guai gripped the walkie-talkie, calling out repeatedly, but there was absolutely no response. The woman from Shen City collapsed on the ground. It took her a long time to recover before she apologized to me. Thank you. Thank you. Did you know about this? Or rather, did all of you know? I looked at Gui with annoyance. The woman from Shen City froze. Gui stammered, unable to find his words. What a load of bullshit.
Damn it, isn't this just getting people killed?
The woman was seething with rage. She calmed herself down a bit and explained to me. That thing is a mountain god, but in our field, we call it a mountain master. The ancient text said it was just a small creature, and that it was trapped. This is our first time encountering one too. A mountain master is covered in treasures. Its lair is a sacred sanctuary. Keeping just one breath of its air is worth 3 years in the academy. Hearing about the mountain master made my skin crawl. This was the ultimate evil that sorcerers feared most. Staring into the depths of Mount Yin, I forced myself to look cold and detached. He was clearly bitter and unwilling to accept this. Our research team needed the mountain master's blood to protect me while searching for a location. I tracked down the old scholar and the bearded man through the dragon veins. They both belonged to that team. They're probably dead by now. Master, I never meant to harm you. The ancient records were wrong. I remained completely unmoved. My job here is done. I'm leaving. I glanced back at the depths of Mount Yin, though I had a feeling I'd have to return here one day. I didn't want to go anywhere near this place anytime soon. That thing was just too terrifying.
Seeing to prepare to leave.
Gui called out to me. He pulled out 300,000 yuan in cash from his car and handed it over. I didn't say a word.
I just took the cash and walked away.
Gui pulled out his brick phone and made a call.
He didn't try to stop me.
The woman from Shenzhen stayed behind. As for whether they would venture into Mount Yin again,
I couldn't care less. You get what you pay for, and I only do what I'm paid to do. Besides, good advice can't save a fool bent on dying. Once I got back home, I shut myself away for 3 days.
Spending all my time studying and cultivating. During that time, I made a breakthrough with my mantras
And mastered the mantra of swift movement.
My control over its accompanying footwork grew more fluent by the day.
Now, a single step could carry me 5 meters. Yet, I knew this was far from my limit. Having witnessed the sheer terror of that entity in red, my hunger for absolute power grew even more intense. This tiny breakthrough was nowhere near enough. One afternoon, as I was reading by the courtyard gate, my second brother suddenly showed up. He was wearing jeans, flashy leather jacket, and had a bird's nest hairstyle with a clutch bag tucked under his arm. His leg wouldn't stop shaking, looking incredibly smug and cocky. "Where's Dad?" he blurted out. "He's guarding the gate at the factory, not home," I answered. Our oldest brother has been riding his motorcycle back in the dead of night lately, so we barely ever see him. Ever since my second brother had that massive fight with Dad. This was actually his first time setting foot back in the house. My second brother ordered me to go find Dad and bring him back. "I'm busy, and besides, I don't even know where Dad works," I replied. "Our oldest brother probably knows." I was done putting up with his attitude. Ever since we were kids, my oldest brother had always supported me. Even during those 8 years when I lost my mind, he never gave up on me. My second brother gave me a hard shove, but I didn't budge. He glared and snapped. "When I tell you to do something, you do." Cut the crap. Just because you're not an idiot anymore, you think you can stand up to me? You want a beating? He raised his hand, aiming to slap me right across the face. I clenched my fist, ready to strike back. Just then, my oldest brother and Dad walked in. "Second son,
Dad barked.
My second brother gave me one last glare before letting go and walking into the courtyard.
Engaged, too? Dad called out. There's something we need to discuss.
In the living room, my second brother sprawled all over the sofa with his legs crossed. Dad lit a cigarette and sat down on a wooden chair.
I sat down right next to my oldest brother.
Since my second son is back too,
Then I'll just say it. We are splitting up the family assets.
Dad spoke up. My oldest brother, always honest and kind-hearted, said, "But Dad,
Let me speak first.
I don't want us to split up. As the oldest son, I should stay at home to take care of you and Mom.
Oh, dear brother. You've always been the sweet talker since we were kids. No wonder Mom and Dad both love you.
Unlike me, who can't seem to do anything right."
My second brother sneered sarcastically. All right, that's enough. Cut the nonsense. Are we splitting this up or not?
Dad glared at my second brother. "We are splitting it."
Of course we are.
"That's exactly why I came back this time." My second brother scoffed.
My second brother curled his lip in disdain.
"I have 16,000 in savings," Dad said. "It's what your mother and I have saved up over all these years. I will keep 1,000, leaving 15,000.
The three of you will get 5,000 each. Dad said, preparing to write up the agreement. Dad, wait, that's not right. My second brother interrupted. I heard from Mom that there's way more than 16,000. If we're splitting the family, we have to include the house too. This place could easily sell for at least 2,000.
My second brother whined, but Dad retorted, "This house was allocated to me by the village." "You want a piece of this too?" Dad snapped, growing angry.
Even between father and son, business is business, Dad.
Besides, Lao Yao is way too young to be getting a cut of the money, don't you think? Just because Big Brother lives with you, that doesn't count as splitting the family assets, does it?
Second brother snapped. Big brother got angry too. Second brother, what on earth are you talking about?
We're biological brothers. We're family.
You're just hurting Dad.
Second brother cut him off. Big brother.
What do you know? Mom told me Dad still has 20,000. He clearly wants to give all the money to third brother.
He's an idiot. How could he earn 20,000? I don't care. I want 25,000. Once I get this money, if I ever ask this family for another single penny,
Then I, Feng Dao, am worse than a dog.
Dad clenched his fists, but his voice was eerily calm. That money isn't mine.
Your third brother earned it himself. It's saved for him to get married. None of you can touch it.
Second brother sneered. Dad, you've gone senile. What kind of trash is Lao Yao?
A fool earning 20,000? Who does he think he is? The Monkey King.
I didn't want to waste my breath. Dad, just give it to second brother. I still have money. Don't let him ruin your peace of mind over this.
Fine, second brother. 25,000 it is. Here is the agreement.
Sign it, and I'll give you the cash.
Dad went inside and fetched the money. Second brother signed it immediately, stuffed the cash into his pocket, and turned to leave. Dad called out to him. Second brother,
Taking your younger brother's money means you are cutting ties with him completely.
it's not too late to change your mind and just take 5,000. Second brother smirked. Dad,
You've really gone senile. Why would I ever want to associate with Lao Yao? I'm more than happy to cut ties.
with that, he walked away without even looking back. I stood up and stopped Big Brother, who was about to go out to ride his motorcycle taxi. I went to my bedroom, brought out 100,000, and placed it right in front of him. 100,000.
50,000 for Mom and Dad, and 50,000 for you, big brother.
You must keep your promise. Take good care of Mom and Dad from now on.
Ever since I was a kid, my oldest brother and second sister have treated me so well.
I've always kept their kindness locked in my heart.
But I also had to start planning for my eventual departure. Dad and my oldest brother were completely dumbfounded.
Dad finally snapped out of it and looked at my oldest brother. "Son," he said, "didn't you say you wanted to open up your own shop? This money is exactly what you need. Just make sure you never forget how good your youngest brother was to you." My oldest brother took the cash. He let out a heavy sigh. "Little brother, I owe you big time. And please don't hold a grudge against your second brother."
Blood might be thicker than water, Dad, big brother. But even among family, some are closer than others.
My voice was completely flat. They didn't press the matter. I still had over 200,000 left.
With winter fast approaching, and the northeast hitting temperatures below minus 40 degrees, I went to the shopping mall and bought some fleece-lined jeans, thermal underwear, sweaters, sneakers, and a down jacket. After a quick haircut and a hot bath, I put on my thick new clothes. Even I was shocked by how different I looked. It turned quite a few heads, with people asking where I got my jacket, since everyone in the Northeast was still wearing those old military trench coats back then.
Hardly anyone had ever seen a real down jacket. Just then, an acquaintance walked over and called out,
Master Feng!
I stared at him for a good while before I recognized him.
I'm Old Dog.
That's what everyone calls me.
He grinned apologetically. Thanks again for saving me in Dahuang last time. I'd love to treat you to a meal.
Knowing Old Dog had managed to steal that parchment, I figured he might have other things related to Taoism, so
I agreed.
right as we stepped out of the bathhouse, we ran into Big Yellow Teeth.
So he tagged along, and we all headed to a nearby restaurant.
Halfway through the meal,
Old Dog leaned in.
Master,
Something happened up at Old Eagle Mountain.
the military has already been deployed.
Over 30 people are dead. Every single one of them was hanging from the trees.
It's an absolute horror show.
I was caught a bit off guard. And Big Yellow Teeth chimed in. I heard about that too.
Some Tomb Raiders must have disturbed something they shouldn't have. They even found the bodies of 2 grandmasters from the southern school, and apparently, one of them was a university professor. My ancestors were Tomb Raiders from the legendary mountain-moving sect. I cut them off. Do either of you have any Daoist texts or ancient relics related to it? I'll pay top dollar for them. Old Dog's eyes lit up. Master, I've got a roll of ancient bamboo slips. It's incredibly old, but it's a bit strange. He took me back to his place. The scroll had 12 bamboo slips. By my estimate, each was as long as a middle finger and as wide as a thumb. But there wasn't a single word written on them. Big Yellow Tooth scoffed in disbelief. Old Dog, don't you dare swindle our savior! This junk looks brand new, and there's literally nothing on it. What the hell do you know? I had someone look at it. They said it's a rare treasure from the Daoist sect. Old Dog's face turned red with anger. I narrowed my eyes and channeled my Daoist energy into the scroll. Suddenly, the bamboo began to hum. A faint, starlight-like glow flowed across them, revealing hundreds of glowing golden glyphs. Even though I couldn't read the characters, I could instantly understand their meaning. This was the Beacon Kumana, a legendary formation. Just by channeling my energy and chanting the incantation, I could activate it. Suppressing my excitement, I looked at Old Dog. Don't try to tell me this is some family heirloom. Where did you really get this? Old Dog lowered his head, mumble confessing, well, I'm actually a thief. Last year, I snuck into the marshal's mansion in Shenqing and swiped it. It was just sitting there inside a glass display case. I thought, well, nobody was using it anyway. I pulled out 1,000 yuan and handed it to him. This is a fake document. I'll take it off your hands to study it. If you find anything else like this, bringing straight to my house. Seeing the cash, Old Dog immediately grinned from ear to ear. With the bamboo scroll secured, I started heading home, but I had barely walked a few steps outside when I spotted a chillingly familiar figure. It was Rose. And Rand. Wasn't she supposed to be dead on Eagle Mountain? Even if she survived, the military had completely sealed off the mountain. How on earth did she get out? But what truly made my skin crawl was that she was following me, matching me step for step. The terrifying shadow of Eagle Mountain still loomed over me. And now, seeing Nanran stalking me, my palms instantly broke out in a cold sweat. I waved at him, but he just stood 10 meters away, staring dead at me. He didn't react at all. I took a step forward. He took 2 steps back. We just stood there, locked in a tense standoff. I suspected he was possessed. Forming a hand seal with one hand, I yelled out loud, but he still didn't budge. My mantras failed, and I hadn't brought any chicken blood or red string. So I had no choice but to silently chant my protective mantra, rushing to my doorstep, covering 5 meters in a single stride. And I looked back. Anran was already gone. As I walked inside, my parents, my older brother, and my sister-in-law were all there. It turned out my brother wanted to open his own repair shop. He had trained at an auto body shop years ago and had always wanted to open his own place. But he never had the money. The 50,000 yuan I gave them came in perfectly handy. My parents had even quit their jobs to help him run the place. They wanted me to stay home this time, just so I could see if his new venture would go smoothly. I focused my mind and took a closer look. The bad luck over my parents' heads had cleared, replaced by a pure white aura of peace. And over my brother's head, there was a faint golden aura, a clear sign of incoming wealth. But my sister-in-law's pink romantic aura was tainted with a dark streak of blood red, foretelling a looming, bloody disaster. Brother, you've got some good fortune coming your way, I remarked, casually. My brother immediately beamed with joy and eagerly asked me to pick an auspicious day for the grand opening. I gave him a half-hearted reply. Rather than relying on lucky days, you're better off trusting yourself. Just let things take their natural course. My sister-in-law interrupted impatiently. All right, that's enough. It's just a little repair shop. How much money could it possibly cost? And you're even fortune-telling? Anyone who didn't know better would think you're opening some massive corporation. She rolled her eyes at me as she spoke, her face dripping with utter contempt. I frowned. Why was she so dismissive of my words? Her eyes flickered with a brief moment of surprise, but she quickly sneered sarcastically. Oh, believe you. Of course I believe you. After all, the only reason we can even open this shop is because you're the one footing the bill. I heard it was tens of thousands. My brother quickly grabbed her arm and hissed, "Keep your mouth shut. Is it really the youngest who paid for all this?" My sister-in-law shoved my brother away. She put her hands on her hips and sneered. Listen to me, Feng. Cut the crap. Look at him. Does he look like someone who has tens of thousands of dollars on him? You spineless coward. If you are half as capable as your second brother, we would have split up this family estate long ago. My brother finally lost his temper. Shut up. Just shut up. But she only pushed harder. She pointed right in his face and screamed, "Are you blind, Feng? Can't you see what's happening?" What do you mean, the money the youngest took? That's just your parents making up excuses to dump it on us. They want us to support your youngest brother. How much could a crappy little repair shop possibly cost? A few thousand at most. And yet you lied to me, claiming you had 50,000. Smack. My brother, consumed by rage, slapped her hard across the face. They both froze. What on earth are you two doing? Mom rushed over to check on my sister-in-law's face, but she shoved Mom away with a vicious push. I quickly caught Mom before she fell. Seeing this, my brother wanted to strike her again. I stepped in to block him, then looked at her. Sister-in-law, a good life is built through effort,
Not by screaming and cursing. You've been married into our family for 10 years. Mom and Dad have always accommodated you, and my second brother has always shown you respect. But to scream at my eldest brother right in front of our parents is simply going too far. Her face flashed with shame, but she refused to back down. I leaned in, trying to guide her. How about I read your fortune? I whispered into her ear. You've recently stepped into a forbidden romance, but it's also going to bring a bloody disaster upon you. Think very carefully about your next move. She stared at me in absolute shock. Then, letting out a cold snort, she stormed off. My brother and mom quickly ran after her, but Dad just sat on the sofa, calmly smoking and watching TV. He was even humming a cheerful little tune, which was incredibly bizarre. Before long, Mom returned, leading a strange woman into the house. She called out as she stepped inside. Honey, I ran into this young lady the moment I stepped outside. She's so lightly dressed and hasn't said a word. Poor thing. She looks absolutely miserable. Go pour her a cup of hot water. The moment I laid eyes on her, my scalp went completely numb. It was actually Unran. She's alive. Mom. My throat clenched in full sheer panic. I desperately tried to signal Mom with my eyes, but she ignored me completely. Sweetheart, where is your home? What do you think of my boy, Lao Yao? Mom was still blindly trying to play matchmaker. Don't worry, I'll take you to the police station in a bit. Right then, Anam suddenly moved, locking her cloudy eyes onto Mom with a murderous glare. She clawed her hands straight toward Mom's head. You're dead, I roared, channeling my spiritual energy as I charged forward. But I was too far away to make it in time. Ring! A crisp, clear bell chime suddenly echoed. Iran yanked her hand back, clutching her head, screaming in agony. Oh my God, what's going on? Mom stumbled back in sheer terror. I breathed a sigh of relief, but immediately wondered where the bell sound came from. Dark veins bulged across Iran's face, turning black and seeping with dark mist. This aura was identical to that red-clothed entity from Eagle Mountain. I was no match for it. But with my parents here, there was no backing down. Just as I was about to bite the bullet and charge, the bell chimed again. Terrified, Unran collapsed to the ground, frantically pounding the floorboards. Suddenly, I remembered the bronze bell in my pocket. I pulled it out and shook it hard. The bronze bell, which had been silent before, now rang with a crisp, clear tone, shaking the very soul. You ruined my plans. I will remember you. A woman's specter emerged from Anran's body, shooting me a venomous glare, before turning into black mist and vanishing. I shook the bell again. But this time, it remained silent. The entity was gone. I knelt down and channeled my spiritual energy into Anran's forehead. Just then, Dad walked in holding a kettle. What's going on? Who was screaming? Mom hurried over. It's nothing. This girl just went crazy all of a sudden.
Laya waved something around, and she fell asleep.
I looked at Mom, feeling bewildered. She actually didn't hear the bell chime, nor did she see the specter. Dad asked, puzzled. La Yao, what on earth is going on? Do you think that weasel spirit drained the life right out of her? We've got to keep her stable, right? I was just about to lie. Yin and Ansang suddenly woke up. I quickly raised my bell, but nothing happened. She stared at me in confusion for a long while, before pointing at me. It's you. You seethed. She suddenly threw her arms around me, sobbing hysterically. They're dead. They're all dead. The professor is dead. Our leader is dead too. I almost died too. Wait, you two know each other? And look, she isn't crazy after all. My parents exchanged a knowing look. Dad gave Mom a subtle wink, and the two of them set down the kettle and quickly slipped out. They clearly got the wrong idea, and Anand cried for 10 minutes before she finally let go of me. I poured her a glass of water. Once she finished it, I asked her what on earth had happened. Choking back tears, Anand explained that after I had dragged Guoyi and Shunchang's woman away that day, the professor suddenly went wild and bit Lion Mahu to death before climbing up a tree and hanging himself. When she looked up, she saw a horrifying sight. A bunch of people hanging from the branches. They were all from her team. Another man from the south went completely insane right then and there, running off into the deep mountains, never to be seen again. She fainted from sheer terror, and when she finally woke up, she saw me. Her story lined up with what Big Yellow Teeth and Old Dog had told me. I made a mental note of those two. They might come in handy later. Once I'm wrong, calm down. She looked down sheepishly and said, I doubted your abilities before. I want to apologize to you. No need, I replied. Besides, I didn't actually save you. You're the one who ran all the way here to find me. She looked bewildered. I ran here to find you? I explained how she had been trailing behind me the whole time. She scratched her head. Well, either way, you still saved my life. I didn't argue. Then she asked if there was a phone nearby. There's one at the convenience store across the street, I said. Fidgeted, she asked embarrassedly. Could you lend me 10 yuan? I handed her a 10 yuan bill. She took it and said, Thank you. I'll never forget what you've done for me. I'll repay you for this. With that, he walked away. The whole mess of mouth wine was finally behind us. But I never expected that Wan Anzhen, the bastard who conned my dad, would indirectly come begging for my spiritual help. Karma really is a beautiful thing. And because of this case, I ran into my very first fellow practitioner, a total scammer of a Daoist priest. He borrowed some money to make a call, crashed at my place until evening, and was finally picked up. But the second he left, Old Dog came knocking on my courtyard door.
I let him inside, and he didn't even beat around the bush. Master, I'll get straight to the point. I need your help with something. Once it's done, you'll get this much. Old Dog held up 2 fingers. But I have no interest in money.
The only reason I even let him in was because he's always well connected.
Seeing my silence, Old Dog quickly added, Master,
That's 20,000 yuan. As the middleman, I'm honestly not making a single penny of profit here.
I shook my head. It's not about the money.
I'm just not interested.
Old Dog panicked.
Master, I know you've been looking for ancient texts. Let me tell you, the client this time is a big deal.
His family's collection of rare texts and archives is practically a museum.
I've seen it with my own eyes. An entire room packed with them.
Now that got my attention. Once I made sure he wasn't lying, I agreed to take the job. 10 days later, my older brother's motorcycle repair shop finally opened.
Old Dog came to find me again and took me straight to the client's house. The moment we stepped into the villa, I saw Wang Wan.
He stared at Old Dog in utter disbelief. This fool Fang is the master you brought me.
Old Dog's face went completely pale. Director Wang!
Please, you mustn't say such things.
He is a real master. Even the chosen Buddha disciple has to show him respect.
It was this master who cured the Buddha disciple's eyes. Only then did Wang Yang finally size me up.
I spoke in a calm, flat voice. Uncle Wang, it's been a long time.
Ray Youngman froze. You're not a fool anymore?
I replied calmly. Uncle Wang, tell me what's going on with your family.
I didn't waste any emotion on Wang Wan.
I just wanted to help my dad get a little payback. After all, this bastard had almost conned my father to death.
Yet, there wasn't a shred of guilt on Wang Yan's face.
He just reluctantly led us into his study. It started half a month ago. My family has been plagued by one accident after another. First, our housekeeper broke her arm. Then my mother split her head open.
And now my little grandson has a broken leg and is still stuck in the hospital.
I heard that when people run into some bad juju, they immediately look for a spiritual master.
I focused my energy and took a closer look. Hovering over Wang Yan's head was a pale yellow aura, laced with a faint golden glow.
There wasn't a single trace of bad luck on him.
So I asked him, aside from all this, have you run into anything unusual lately?
Wang Yong fell silent for a moment, then said, Actually, about 2 weeks ago, I ran into a Daoist priest. He said I was facing a bloody disaster and demanded 100,000 yuan to ward it off. I cursed him out when I walked away.
Could this have something to do with him? I narrowed my eyes.
Let me take a look around first. Old Dog followed close behind.
Master, did you find something?
We'll know once we look around.
I brushed him off as we walked from the first floor up to the 3rd floor. I stopped right in front of the altar of Guan Yu statue.
Wang Wang asked in confusion, is there something wrong with the god of wealth?
My family has worshipped this statue for over 10 years.
I could see clearly that the problem lay with the blade of the Guangguo statue.
The blade was wrapped in a thick, malevolent energy. When I drew closer, the blade actually seemed poised to strike down at me. I asked, Uncle Wang, did all the accidents with your family happen here on the 3rd floor?
Yes, that's right.
Wang Yang was utterly shocked. And did they all happen right in this area?
I pointed to the exact spot where the blade was aimed.
Yes, exactly in this spot.
Master Feng, what on earth is going on here?
Can it be broken? Wan Wan asked anxiously.
Uncle Wan, you're lucky you ran into me.
Otherwise, even if your family lineage isn't completely wiped out, it would still be close.
I deliberately tried to scare him. A cold sweat broke out all over Wang Wan. Master,
Can you handle this? Old Dog chimed in.
Wang Wan quickly tried to play the intimacy card. Nephew.
Your father and I are old friends. The fact you absolutely have to help me with this.
I smiled faintly. Uncle Wang, you might be old friends with my dad.
but you and I have no such bond. 50,000 yuan.
Plus the documents I'm looking for.
Agree to both conditions, and I will help you.
Isn't that a bit too much? Wang Yao hesitated. I smirked. Director Wang.
Then you should look for someone else. I turned to leave.
Wait, I agree.
Yo Iman quickly called out to stop me.
He spun around, grabbed 50,000 yuan in cash, and handed it to me. Here, nephew, what is it you want?
No rush. First, delete the video. I pocketed the money and walked toward the Guanggong statue.
As I drew close, a crimson light flashed across the blade. A faint 6-meter-tall phantom of Guanggong materialized, raising his blade to strike me down.
I stood my ground, not moving an inch.
The Daoist energy inside my body surged, automatically blocking the phantom blade. Instantly, the phantom shattered and vanished. The malevolent energy dissipated completely. I formed a hand seal with one hand, silently chanting an exorcism spell.
Shouting "Begone!" I twisted the Guanggong blade. Master Feng, thank you. Thank you so much.
Wang Yaoan stared at me, utterly dumbfounded.
Only then did I notice the wet patch on his crotch. The man had literally wet himself. The wooden coffee table next to him had been split clean in half.
It turned out that phantom really was lethal.
Once everything was resolved,
I went to his study to look through his collection of documents. Wang Yuan insisted I take whatever I wanted. I could throw useful files and 2 paintings. After leaving, I handed Laku 2,000 yuan.
he promised to keeping an eye out for more ancient texts for me.
When I got back home, Wan Wanjing was there too.
Ignoring everyone, I headed straight to my room to study the documents. It wasn't until after he left and Mom called me for dinner That I learned Wang Wan had given Dad 20,000 yuan to fulfill his promise.
I didn't ruin it by telling them the truth, not wanting to spoil Dad's good mood. After dinner, my sister-in-law subtly burst into my room.
My heart skipped a beat in panic. After all, a brother-in-law and sister-in-law aren't supposed to be alone together in a room.
Ming. I wanted to apologize for what happened before. You're being too polite, sister-in-law.
My warning actually came true, didn't it?
I asked her calmly. She nodded, looking deeply troubled.
Shifting awkwardly, she whispered,
Lately, there's been this man pursuing me, but I turned him down.
Then, 2 days ago, he came to my hair salon and started getting handsy.
I yelled at him to stop, and he beat me until my head was bleeding.
I didn't dare tell your older brother. He's a ruthless thug who runs security at a local dance hall.
I'm terrified he'll take it out on us.
Please help me! Hearing his desperate plea, I took a look at my sister-in-law's aura.
It was a sickly pink, stained with a dark blood-red shadow.
She was completely plagued by misfortune. But for the sake of my older brother,
I agreed to help him.
I asked him for information about the person behind this.
That night, as I lay in bed reading through some ancient texts, I suddenly heard a noise in the dead of night.
I opened my eyes and saw a shadow crouching right on my windowsill.
The figure was hunched over, standing about 3 feet tall.
My first thought was that red-clothed monster from Eagle Mountain.
It gave me a real fright.
But when I got up to look closer, I realized it hadn't actually broken in. I quietly got off my bed and crept outside.
There he was, crouching under the window, suspiciously digging at the foundation.
Who's there?
I barked loudly.
The creature flinched in terror, whipping its head around instantly. In the freezing dawn of early winter,
Bathed in the pale moonlight, I saw it clearly. He had a fiery red fox face.
yet he had human limbs and was wearing a Daoist robe.
Ah, so you caught me. As he spoke, his face shifted into that of a middle-aged man.
And his hands and feet took on human form.
I formed a spell seal with one hand, ready to strike at any moment, knowing he was up to no good.
Whoa, easy there, brother, easy. Don't fight, don't fight.
We don't want to ruin the peace here.
He kept his eyes locked on my hand,
His shifty eyes filled with
deep worriness.
I stayed quiet, sizing him up before suddenly asking, "You're the Daoist Wang Yon mentioned, aren't you?"
Having his identity exposed, he grinned. You're clearly no ordinary man, brother. Mind telling me which Taoist master I have the honor of meeting? And why are you ruining my plans?
At his words, I shook my head.
I'm no Daoist master. He let out a cold laugh. Well, if you're not a master, then you have even less right to ruin my plans.
Do you have any idea how that Wan swindled the local folks at the factory?
Aren't you afraid of divine retribution for helping a villain like him?
His words actually struck a chord, making me feel a hint of guilt.
I fell into deep thought.
And taking advantage of my distraction,
He started walking right toward me.
a sudden chill swept over me.
That's when I realized, to my horror, that he put me under an illusion before I could even react. He lunged at me with a fist-sized clawed fox hand. Razor-sharp claws at least 4 to 5 centimeters long ripped straight toward my thigh.
But I was faster.
I silently chanted the mantra of speed, taking one massive leap 5 meters back to break free.
He froze.
Complete shock was written all over his face. How is this possible? You actually broke free from my illusion?
Only then did I see him clearly. Standing 5 meters away was a scrawny, skeletal old man.
I didn't have time to be shocked.
I quickly formed a hand seal with one hand and yelled at him. But the old Daoist just gave a mocking laugh.
He dodged my move and leaped onto the roof.
Well, kiddo, looks like I underestimated you. You've got some real skills to break my Moshan delusion. But if you think you can take me on, you're dead wrong.
You cost me 100,000 yuan.
So now, you're gonna pay in blood. The second those words left his mouth, he bit down hard on his own arm. Using his own blood, he began drawing a talisman on the roof.
Chanting under his breath, "By the winds and fires, all laws submit. Moshan, unleash!"
Instantly, the crushing weight of an invisible mountain crashed down on me, leaving me gasping for air. Haha, hey punk, apologize to this master right now. Hand over that 50,000 yuan of yours. And if I'm in a good mood, maybe I'll take you in as my apprentice. How's that sound?
The old Daoist stood hunched on the roof, grinning smugly. Screw you. I lost it. I grabbed an iron bars from the ground, poured all my spiritual energy into it, and pointed it straight at the sky, chanting the 5 thunders spell. By the laws of all creation, the thunder god reigns supreme. I summon the heavenly thunder, the divine thunder, the dragon thunder, the water thunder, and the earth.
Lay command. Strike! Boom!
A deafening rumble shattered the silent winter night.
Thunder suddenly roared from all directions. Channeling the raw power of the lightning, I aimed the iron bars directly at the old Daoist on the roof. Holy crap! 5 thunders. Strike!
The old Daoist was instantly terrified.
Abandoning his hold on the invisible mountain, he turned on his heel and fled.
Chanting the speed mantra again,
I snapped my eyes open, grabbed the iron bars, and went after him. The lightning in the sky surged right along with me as I pursued him.
it was a terrifyingly surreal sight. We kept up this high-speed chase for a full half an hour.
Exhausted, the old Daoist collapses to the ground. He drops to his knees, begging for mercy. Master, if only you told me sooner that you are the reincarnate, I would never have dared to mess with you, even if it killed me.
Master, the path of cultivation is hard.
Please, Have mercy on me.
I remained completely unmoved. I summoned the lightning, sending it crashing straight toward him.
With a deafening boom, the old Daoist is blasted completely charred black.
Yet, he still has the nerve to play dead. So, I prepare to summon another strike.
Terrified, he scrambles out of the way. Staring at me with lingering terror, he gasps, "Dad, please, no more!"
If you call down another one, that's not just lightning anymore. That's a heavenly tribulation. I admit defeat. I surrender. I'll give you this treasure as a tribute, all right?
The old Daoist quickly pulls out a jade pendant and offers it to me. I can feel a pure, concentrated energy radiating from it.
But I don't take it. I keep my hand raised, ready to summon the lightning at any second. Who are you? Which sect do you belong to? And what are you doing at my house? Looking utterly defeated, the old Daoist whimpers.
I'm from the northern.
We usually help people, save lives. I was just trying to squeeze some pocket money out of Wang Rong.
But you ruined my plans, Dad. I thought you were just some low-life con artist. So I wanted to use a little illusion to teach you a lesson. Hearing him call me Dad over and over again, I realized just how shamelessly thick-skinned he is. I can feel that the power of the third strike is no joke. If I force it down now, I'll end up getting hurt too.
Besides, my own energy is running dangerously low. If I blast you to pieces, right now,
This jade pendant will still be mine. In fact, everything you own will belong to me. I narrow my eyes, my voice dripping with menace. The old Daoist's face turns pale with fright. He falls to his knees again, crying out, "Dad, no, please!"
Master, how about this?
I'll be your disciple. I'll serve you.
I'll swear an oath. As long as you spare my life, I'll work like a dog for you. I'll do absolutely anything.
I don't believe a word of his lies. Coldly, I ask, "So, you want..."
The old Daoist nods frantically, like his life depends on it.
"Forget about being my disciple," I reply calmly. "My sect only ever takes one successor per generation, and you simply aren't worthy. Give me a single drop of your heart's blood, and I'll let you go."
The old Daoist asked warily, "What are you trying to do?"
My heart's blood? That's my life's essence.
If you take it and tamper with it,
I'll be absolutely ruined.
I frowned, channeling my spiritual power, preparing to summon the lightning once more.
Wait, I'll give it to you. Staring at the crackling lightning overhead, the old Daoist reluctantly squeezed out a single drop of blood from his fingertip. I used my spiritual power to draw his essence blood into my hand.
He watched in utter shock.
Is that enough? Can I go now?
The old Daoist asked. "Where is the jade pendant?" I demanded, keeping my hand raised to maintain the lightning strike stance. "You're ruthless," the old Daoist muttered as he reluctantly handed it over. Only then did I let him go. By the time I returned home, the sky was already turning gray with the first light of dawn. Summoning the 5 lightning spell had completely drained my energy. I collapsed onto the bed and passed out instantly.
I didn't even have the strength to look at the jade pendant.
I had no idea how long I slept, until my parents finally shook me awake. Opening my eyes, I saw my older brother and sister-in-law standing there too.
Outside, it was pitch black.
"Oh, my youngest boy. You nearly scared me to death."
I thought you were going to end up like you did 8 years ago, when you had a fever for 7 days and almost... My mother sobbed.
"Are you all right, little brother?"
My older brother asked, his face filled with anxiety.
I shook my head. "I'm fine, really."
How long have I been asleep?
My father sighed. "It's been 2 days and 1 night."
I was stunned. I never expected the side effects of the 5 lightning spell to be this severe. Suddenly, a wave of intense hunger hit me. Seeing this, my mother and sister-in-law rushed off to cook some food. It was only after eating that I finally pulled out the jade pendant to study it.
It was completely emerald green.
Carved with 2 intertwining spirit fish.
It felt cool to the touch.
It irradiated a peculiar warmth. It seemed to have the power to heal the sick and save lives.
I naturally kept it on me. I glanced at the clock. It was barely past 7 in the evening. Thinking about my sister-in-law's situation,
I decided to head to the Dream Paris dance hall to find the shameless thug Li Yang, who had been harassing her.
Back in the 90s, dance halls in Northeast China were incredibly popular.
Dream Paris was the most famous one in Haichou.
When I arrived around 8 o'clock, they were blasting the girl under the streetlight inside. Dozens of men and women were swaying on the dance floor. "Look at this little punk. You here to dance too?"
I've never seen your face around here.
A bald man in his 30s blocked my way.
Sitting insults.
His buddies around him burst into laughter. I walked straight up to him. "Who is Li Yang?
Who the hell are you?"
How dare you call Brother Yang by his name?" The bald guy remained as arrogant as ever.
I stared at him blankly.
"When I ask you a question, you just give me a straight answer. Cut the crap, and don't look for trouble." The bald guy puffed out his chest,
A menacing side look on his face. I didn't waste another word.
I grabbed him by his head and kicked him backward, then pulled him right back in the same motion. The moment I let go, he fell to his knees, throwing up. Several of his men immediately swarmed me.
But in my eyes, their movements were like slow motion.
I dodged them effortlessly, landing solid punches, one after another. In less than 2 minutes, they were all on their knees. Everyone in the dance hall stopped what they were doing. All eyes were locked onto us. I asked the bald guy once more, "Where is Li Yang?"
The bald guy and his crew stared at me in absolute terror.
Just then, a man wearing a flashy, colorful suit
With slick back hair and sunglasses, walked out. "I'm Li Yang. Whose turf are you on?
How dare you come to my place and cause trouble?
In a single stride, I lunged right in front of him. I grabbed him by his slick back hair and slapped him across the face. After delivering the slaps, I kicked him to the ground. I stepped on his head. The owner of the Sparkle Barbershop
Is my sister-in-law.
As soon as Leon came to, he started cursing. You dared refuse to submit to me, and now you even got someone to mess with me?
Screw you. This isn't over.
I'll destroy your entire family,
I sneered. You're right. This is far from over. You bullied my sister-in-law and still show no remorse.
In that case,
You can stay brain dead for the rest of your life. With that, I channeled my spiritual energy. I formed a hand seal and slammed it hard onto his head.
Li Yang's eyes rolled back.
Before long, he became completely blank and mindless. Drool started leaking from his mouth. But he wasn't actually stupid. He was simply trapped by my spiritual energy. His mind was perfectly conscious, but he couldn't control his body. We're dealing with scumbags like him. I had zero intention of holding back.
Having dealt with Li Yang, I strode right out of the room. The people in the dance hall quickly scrambled to make way. The bald guy and his goons huddled on the floor, not even daring to look up. Behind me, whispers of awe and exaggeration filled the air.
I shook my head silently. These people were nothing but cowards who preyed on the weak and feared the strong. A few days later, the rain started pouring down. The Northeast officially entered winter. Word of how I resolved my sister-in-law's trouble quickly spread. People started calling me a madman, but nobody knew my true identity. My sister-in-law's attitude completely changed. She shut down her hair salon, staying home every day, and treating me with incredible warmth.
Lo Yao, you are amazing.
Yesterday, the dance hall owner, Scarface, personally came to apologize to me. All my close friends were absolutely stunned. At the dinner table, my sister-in-law whispered to me while serving the dishes.
I gave a calm, casual reply, then asked how my older brother's repair shop business was going. Thanks to you,
Business is absolutely booming. The queue of people waiting to get their motorcycles repaired is lined up all the way until the day after tomorrow. Even Mom, Dad, and I have gone to help out. My sister-in-law beamed from ear to ear. I suggested that they start dealing in second-hand motorcycles on the side. Her eyes lit up instantly, and she immediately went to discuss it with my brother. After washing his face, Dad walked over, looking hesitant. Lao Yao. Dad has a favor to ask. Something has happened to your third uncle. He's been acting completely out of his mind, muttering nonsense all day. We've had people look at him, but nothing works. Please, do it as a favor to me. Go check on him. I readily agreed. Right after dinner, I rushed up the mountain where my third uncle lived. Knowing the path well, I easily found his house. My third aunt and his family were all there. They had even hired a spirit medium who was wildly flailing around, performing a chaotic ritual right in front of him. My third uncle was curled up in a corner, his eyes completely lifeless, shivering uncontrollably. It was obvious someone had deliberately driven him out of his mind. What do you think you're doing? I barked angrily and shoved the medium aside. My third aunt frowned, her voice betraying her fear of me. We're trying to cure your third uncle. Is this how you treat a sick person? Performing some ridiculous ritual in broad daylight? You're trying to drive him to his grave. I didn't hold back my tongue. My third aunt's mother put her hands on her hips and snarled, You little brat, Feng Ying. How dare you talk to us like that? The medium said he offended Lord Hu III. We are doing this to save him. The medium glared at me venomously. Where did this little bastard get the nerve to run wild in front of me? Get the hell out of my way. I didn't want to waste my breath on them. I could tell there were no evil spirits on my third uncle, and that he was simply out of his mind. I pulled out my jade pendant, pressed it against his forehead, and channeled my spiritual energy. The pendant glowed with a faint light, and a surge of pure energy coursed through his entire body. In no time, my third uncle's eyes cleared up, and he had clearly recovered. Stop putting on a show, Feng Ning. Do you really think you can compare to the master? My third aunt curled her lip and sneered, but my third uncle stood up, clenched his fists, and glared at her. I'm fine now. Didn't you say you wanted a divorce? We're going to the registry office today. My third aunt panicked instantly. She tried to play it cool and make excuses, but I had no interest in their family drama.
Before leaving, I caught a glimpse of a faint dark mist of resentment lingering behind her mother.
It was her deceased husband. It looked like she was about to face a disaster. Sure enough, news arrived that afternoon that her mother had been in a terrible car accident. While riding a motorcycle taxi back to the village, she was struck by an oncoming truck and died on the spot. Yet, the motorcycle driver was completely unharmed. Because of this tragedy, their divorce was temporarily put on hold. My parents and I were taking a bus to the village where my third uncle lived. On the way, my parents started talking about my late third aunt's past. They said she mistreated my uncle when they were young, and even in her old age, she was unfaithful. No wonder she died with so much dark resentment clinging to her soul. I stared out the window at the setting sun, suddenly realizing that ever since I started practicing the mystic arts, all sorts of bizarre supernatural things seemed to seek me out. The unfamiliar term, destiny chart, popped into my mind, but I couldn't quite grasp its meaning just yet. During the ride, I suddenly felt an unmistakable, bone-chilling aura of death. Right in the middle of the minibus sat a figure clad in black, wrapped up tightly from head to toe. He wore a hoodie, sunglasses, and a face mask, fully covered up. Slung across his shoulder was a black canvas bag, and his whole vibe was completely out of place with everyone else. My gut told me he was extremely dangerous. 1 hour later, we arrived at the village. The moment we stepped off the bus, we heard the sound of loud wailing and mourning. The man in black got off right behind us. And to my surprise, He was heading down the exact same path to my third aunt's house.
It turned out he was brought in to stitch my third aunt's corpse back together. In the courtyard, a blood-stained white sheet covered her body.
My uncle's family was in the middle of a heated argument with the village chief. Someone who died violently cannot be brought into the village.
And you actually want to set up a mourning hall?
Burying her in the village is absolutely out of the question.
The village chief puffed on his pipe,
His stance unyielding. Chief, we're all from the same village. If my mother isn't buried here, where is she supposed to go?
My cousin argued back, neck strained with anger, while his older brother rolled up his sleeves, ready to fight. We hired a corpse stitcher. Once the body is sewn up, she won't count as someone who died violently. Instantly, everyone's eyes turned to the man in black.
Without saying a word, the man in black walked over to the white sheet and felt around for a moment.
He pulled out needles, thick thread, and other tools from his bag, and began stitching the corpse. The scene was incredibly gruesome.
One by one, the terrified villagers began to slip away. My parents went inside the house as well, but I stayed behind. I wanted to see what was so extraordinary about this corpse stitcher.
It wasn't until past midnight
That the corpse stitcher finally stopped his work. As he stood up, he finally noticed me. In a raspy voice, he warned, "Kid, get back inside right now. A soul that dies a violent death will come back to take lives." "I'm a practitioner of the mystic arts," I replied. "I'm not afraid of things like that." I openly revealed my identity, but he just sneered coldly. "You've barely scratched the surface, yet you dare call yourself a practitioner? If you want to die, I won't stop you." With that, he lit a lantern, muttering a chant under his breath. Suddenly, a violent gust of wind swept through, and third aunt's figure emerged from the darkness. She looked completely unharmed, just as she did in life. Seeing the lantern, she was instantly drawn toward it. At it lies the river of death, and behind, the river of crossing. May your remains rest in peace,
and all your resentment dissipate.
by the longevity lantern at the ferry crossing. Through all hardships, enter the hall of the underworld king at last, and find a peaceful rebirth. As soon as he finished, third aunt leaped straight into the lantern's flame, but a split second later, an eerie yellow wind whipped up again. The longevity lantern went out in an instant. Clenching his fists, the figure in black hissed, "Damn it! Something is stopping her from passing over." Third aunt's figure materialized once more, but this time, the ghostly phantom of third uncle was right beside her. The two figures began to swell, ballooning until they were 6 meters tall. Third uncle's mad phantom lunged at third aunt, slashing her twice. His phantom instantly twisted and dissipated, leaving the headless third aunt crashing around in agony. Finally, she stumbled out of the courtyard and vanished as the rooster crowed. Just as dawn was breaking, the figure in black turned to me and asked, "You can see them?" "Yes," I nodded. He pulled down his mask, revealing the face of a young woman. I was stunned. She was actually a woman, and even her voice, once she spoke, was clearly female. Her name was Fu Yu. In a flat tone, she asked, "Who is she to you?" After I answered honestly, she asked again, "Since you are a cultivator, you should have had a way to stop it just now, right?" "Maybe," I replied. I asked, "What exactly happened?" She explained that those who die with deep hatred turn into vengeful spirits to harm the living. After sewing the corpse, she had used the longevity lantern to guide the soul, hoping to send third aunt to the afterlife. But she was disrupted by the deep resentment of third uncle. He would rather be wiped from existence than let third aunt's mother ever be reincarnated. Third aunt's mother. She's still conscious, I asked in shock. She's going to be in pain forever? Her grip is getting stronger and stronger. Ultimately, she will turn into a fiend, and that'll be an absolute disaster. When a human dies, they become a ghost. But when a ghost dies, it becomes a fiend. An entity that defies the natural order. You need to talk some sense into them. You know the score. Tell them not to stay in this village. Otherwise, bad things are going to happen. I asked him, "If she turns into a fiend, is there any way to destroy her?" He looked dead serious and said, "Blast her with a cannon." I was skeptical. "Do I look like I'm joking?" He replied, "Gunpowder can suppress all evil spirits. There's nothing it can't hold down. If it doesn't work, it's simply a matter of insufficient firepower." That was the first time I'd ever heard of such a method. But looking at his cold, indifferent expression, he didn't seem to be lying. I asked him a few more questions, and he answered every single one, except he flatly refused to reveal his identity. People in the northeast countryside wake up early. By around 5 in the morning, third aunt's entire family was already out. Feng Sharon put on a mask. Without saying a single word, third aunt's eldest brother stepped forward and asked, "Sir, how is my mother?" Queen Sharon pointed at the corpse, signaling for them to go look for themselves. Though hesitant, third aunt's eldest brother still stepped forward and pulled back the white shroud. The corpse was stitched together perfectly, except her face looked completely shriveled, covered in deep wrinkles, making her look just like a paper doll. "Mother!" Third aunt's eldest brother cried out, falling to his knees with a thud. The rest of the family burst into tears with him. "Payment!" Feng Sharon said, still throwing his voice. His voice was utterly cold. Third aunt handed him 200 tron. Feng Sharon clearly froze for a second. Then he snatched the cash and walked away. Shortly after, the village chief arrived, stubbornly refusing to let third aunt's mother be buried. The two sides got into a massive, heated argument. I found my dad. Long said we couldn't stay in this village for long, but believed her without a second thought. Then they turned around and told my third uncle. Third uncle seemed to be in much better spirits. He warmly said, "Big brother, I'm planning to get a divorce. In a couple of days, I'll head to the imperial capital to find work." My dad nodded.
Third brother, you're still young enough to have kids.
Have another one when the time comes.
If you got no place for them, your sister-in-law and I will help you raise them. Third uncle bit his lip and hugged my dad tight.
Idzo's wailed with tears, but he held them back. We skipped breakfast and hit the road back home.
Before leaving, I bit my finger and dabbed my blood onto third uncle's palm and between his eyebrows. My blood possessed spiritual power, enough to keep him safe.
Though puzzled, third uncle didn't ask any questions. Once in the car, I suddenly froze. At the far end of the village, a blurry, headless, dark shadow was wandering around.
As the car started up, I gasped in utter shock.
The entire village was surrounded by a wall 20 meters high.
And on that wall, a faint, eerie face seemed to be grinning.
As the car drove further away,
I finally realized just how twisted and bizarre this world is.
and what I had seen was barely the tip of the iceberg.
On our third day back, third uncle called. He said 7 people had died in the village in just 3 days.
Most of them were the elderly. There was also a child. The police investigated, but ruled them all as natural deaths.
Eventually, third aunt and third uncle got a divorce. Third uncle left with absolutely nothing and headed straight for the imperial capital. Before he left, my dad gave him 5,000 yuan. By the time we saw each other again, 10 years had passed. Because of what happened, the villagers shunned third aunt's family, calling them bad luck.
They eventually moved to a pig farm up in the mountains.
And we gradually lost touch. I went back to reading my books as usual. 2 days later, someone called out to me from the phone booth across the street. They said Li Ya was on the line. She was in trouble and wanted my help. She promised to pay 100,000 yuan if I could resolve it. I wondered how on earth she got my number, but I didn't press for answers. I just told them to have her come over first so we could talk. That afternoon, Gao Dashan showed up with Gao Wei, holding 2 bottles of premium liquor. My dad sneered sarcastically. "Well, old Gao, what a rare guest."
Gao Dashan smiled sheepishly and said,
"Old Feng, we've been friends for decades, so let's discuss our children's wedding."
Gore, greet your future parents-in-law. Gary obediently called out, "Father-in-law, mother-in-law."
My dad waved his hand, cutting them off. "Guy, then you insisted your daughter would only marry someone with a stable, secure job."
"My family doesn't have that," Gao Dashan quickly interrupted. "Besides, times have changed."
"And I heard your youngest, Lao Yao, has the ability to read spirits and make good money. The kids are all grown up anyway, so let's just hold the wedding." My dad turned his gaze toward me. "Lao Yao, what do you say?" I shook my head. "Dad, let's forget it."
Gao Dashan snapped instantly.
"What did you say? A crazy fool like you wants to call it off?"
"What's wrong with my Gao Wei? Don't be ungrateful when we're trying to give you face."
"Face?" My dad stood up abruptly. "Old Gao, cut the bullshit.
My son's luck with women is through the roof.
Just a couple of days ago, a girl from the capital came all the way here, begging to marry him. And she's from the wealthiest family in the country." Just as they were arguing, Li Yao walked in. "Hello," she said. "I'm looking for Feng Ying." I was stunned. "How did you get in?"
Leah pointed toward the door.
The door was open. I knocked for ages, but since nobody answered, I just let myself in. My mother muttered under her breath. "Lao Yao really does have incredible luck with women."
Leah politely greeted them.
"Hello, uncle. Hello, auntie." Seeing this, Gao Jiashan snatched his bottle of liquor and stormed out. My dad gave my mom a quick look. He didn't drag Dao Shen outside to see him off, and they didn't return for quite a while. I poured Leah a glass of water. I got straight to the point and asked, "So, what's really going on?" Leah pulled out a stack of photos. "Take a look at these first." The first few photos showed a group of young people having dinner together. The ones after that were their family portraits. But the last few photos were all corpses. And they had all died in the exact same spot. Livia said, "The forensic report shows that the 3 victims had absolutely no external injuries. Within a single half month, someone died on the 11th floor of my family's skyscraper every 5 days. Their deaths are having a massive, devastating impact on my family. If anything else happens, there will be no way to contain this mess." I asked, "So, you think something is haunting them?" Li nodded. "Yes." Meanwhile, I kept looking closely at the photos. Channeled my inner energy. Sure enough, I saw faint lines wrapping around the tall man, controlling him like a puppeteer.
But there was nothing on the dead bodies.
It seemed these lines only target the living. Li asked anxiously, "Did you discover something?" I pointed to the tall man in the photo. Their deaths were not accidents. He is the root cause. The others were simply caught in the crossfire.
Leah asked, Are more people going to die?"
"Is there anything you can do?" I shook my head. I don't know what to do. I have no idea how to stop this. That unsettling feeling crept up on me. Again? Before long, my parents, my older brother, and my sister-in-law came back. Seeing us, they all looked a bit surprised. I let Leah stay in my room and slept on the living room sofa myself. In the middle of the night, I was startled awake by those photos. As I was flipping through them, I saw Livia walk out of the room. I asked, "Are you getting up?" She didn't respond. She just wandered around the living room on her own. I switched on the light and gasped in horror. Her movements were bizarre, just like a puppet on strings. I focused my inner vision, and sure enough, I saw countless glowing white threads running through her limbs and head, controlling her every move. I ran out to the yard and saw those threads coming straight down from the sky. When I got back inside,
Leah was no longer in the living room. I rushed into my room and saw her sleeping on the bed. The threads on her body had completely vanished. I examined her closely, but there wasn't a single trace of them left. My heart sank. Could Leah be dead? I remembered that the dead people in the photos had no threads. Panic washed over me. But when I saw her chest rising and falling, showing she was still breathing, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. But when I looked up, Leah was staring straight at me, her eyes wide open. We just stared at each other in silence. Dawn was already starting to break outside the window. I stammered. If I said I was just looking for threads, would you believe me? Her expression turned deadly serious. You spread open a woman's thighs to look for threads? I nodded slowly. To avoid any misunderstanding, I explained everything about the puppet and the threads in full detail. Leah's face turned deathly pale, and her eyes filled with absolute terror. So, you're saying I'm going to die?
Maybe, I replied.
But I think there's still a way to save you. Leah suddenly grabbed my arm, staring at me with sheer desperation. How can I thought about it for a moment. If we can get rid of those strange threads, you should be fine. But I don't know how to do it yet. I was looking for the threads earlier, just to try, but the moment you woke up, they vanished. Leah instantly deflated, her face pale with fear. I tried to comfort her. Just stay at my place for a few days. I'll look into it. We'll find a way, I promise. Leah forced a bitter smile. I guess that's my only option. I originally wanted you to come back to the Imperial capital with me to handle this, but I never expected I'd get caught up in it myself. I smiled slightly. Let's just take it one step at a time. I won't charge you for this. If we go to the Imperial capital, we'll settle the bill then. Leah was speechless, but then she burst into laughter. She flopped onto the bed, completely relaxed. Master Feng, I seriously don't know if meeting you is a blessing or a curse. I'm going to sleep now. You go ahead and look for your threads. I stood there, momentarily stunned,
Then pushed aside my stray thoughts and quietly left the room. While I was pondering a way to break the curse, Leah didn't have another episode over the next 2 days. She even managed to charm my parents, making them incredibly happy. Everyone in my family took a real liking to her, but I had a gut feeling that things weren't that simple. It felt as if someone was deliberately holding back and not pulling the threads just yet. I figured as long as Leah stayed in Haiheng, she'd be safe for now. So I told her, I'll go to the Imperial capital with you. After saying goodbye to my parents, Leah and I boarded a slow train that very night, heading straight for the Imperial capital. This was my first time traveling so far from home. The 30-hour train ride left me feeling a bit dazed, and Leah was completely exhausted too. Well before midnight, she leaned against my shoulder and drifted off to sleep. In the dead of night, the carriage grew quiet. Passengers were sprawled out, fast asleep all around us. Just as I was quietly keeping watch, I suddenly heard a familiar voice coming from the back of the carriage. It was the old Daoist priest whom I had struck with lightning. Someone was asking him, how much incense money did the Li family pay to hire you shaman disciples? 50,000. The old Daoist sighed. 50,000 is really not that much. For spiritual consulting and healing. Outside the pass, the Chuma shaman disciples are the absolute best. Inside the pass, Master Tin has to walk on eggshells just to earn his keep. Is making this much not considered a lot? I heard even the prophetic knife sellers from the south have come. You're exceptionally gifted, so you never have to walk on eggshells for anyone. The old Daoist fell silent for a moment before speaking up. By the way, do you know anything about the Daoist masters over in Haikeng? Never heard of them. In fact, there aren't many Daoist masters in the entire Long province. Aren't you one of them? And that's about all of them. Where on earth did he pop up from? Why? Did something happen? Nothing. Just asking. I narrowed my eyes. I didn't pay them any mind. They were clearly heading to the Li family as well. I closed my eyes and drifted off to sleep. Yet, in my half-asleep state, I could clearly see every single movement in the carriage. I could even see a mother and daughter wearing short sleeves, sitting in the corner. The mother was weeping, saying she wanted to go back to the northeast but couldn't get past the pass, and the officials wouldn't let them through. Suddenly, the little girl looked up. With her wide, teary eyes, she looked at me and asked, Big brother, can you see us? You can actually see us, can't you? My scalp went numb. They weren't human at all. The little girl spoke again. Big brother, why are you floating in midair? Do you want to go back to the northeast too? I gasped and jolted awake. It was already noon. The corner was completely empty. It felt as though my soul had projected right out of my body just now. Only later did I learn that the mother and daughter were actually residual spirits left behind after death. In our craft, we occultists call them the Hollows. They don't even realize they are dead, so they just endlessly repeat what they did when they were alive. They can only find peace once they finally accept the truth. But that's a story for another time. After traveling for over 30 hours on the train, we finally arrived at the capital's west station at around 3 o'clock in the morning. The moment I stepped out of the station, I was blown away by the towering skyscrapers. I felt like a country boy entering the big city, excited by absolutely everything I saw. Just then, a majestic middle-aged man in a traditional Tang suit walked up to us, leaning on a cane. Dad! Leah called out. This is my friend Feng Ying. I invited him over from Haikang. Pointing. This is my dad, Li. Yeah, introduced us. Leah's father swept a cold glance over me and didn't say a word. Turning around, he got straight into his classic Mercedes. Leah quickly apologized. Feng Ying, don't mind him. My dad is always like this. He's actually really easy to get along with. Once we were in the car,
Li Ya's father suddenly asked me, "How much is my daughter paying you?"
Seeing that Li Ya had fallen asleep,
I answered honestly. "She promised me 100,000 once the job is done." He let out a cold snort. "You certainly have a lot of nerve asking for that much.
even a famous shaman disciple from the Northeast only charges 50,000.
And I was the one who gave him that opportunity.
What makes you think you're worth more?
I met his gaze through the rearview mirror, completely unfazed. "She was the one who begged me to come," I replied. "It's not like I wanted to be here."
Through the mirror, I saw him visibly stiffen. Even the driver's mouth twitched in surprise.
For our first meeting,
The tension was incredibly thick. Over an hour later, a car pulled up in front of the Crown Hotel.
Li Ya's father got out and walked away.
The driver escorted me to a luxury suite. I was completely blown away by how lavish the room was.
After taking a quick shower, I crashed immediately.
It wasn't until 2 in the afternoon
That Li Ya knocked on my door to invite me to the buffet. That was when I finally woke up.
we got to the third-floor buffet.
My eyes lit up at the massive spread of delicious food. Just as I was marveling at the feast, a tall young man of about 26 or 27 walked over to strike up a conversation.
Yeah, you're finally back."
Leah looked surprised. "Wan Lin, what are you doing here?" "What are you doing here? Your brother told me your family hired a bunch of people and asked me to come over and help out.
I heard you went up north.
What's actually going on?" Wang Yilan asked, looking puzzled. "Is it still about that building?"
Yeah, Lisa. So, is this the friend you brought back?
Wan Ning turned to look at me, Feng. "He's the one who took care of my friend's situation last time." Li enoughed.
Nice to meet you.
"I'm well, Lin. You must be Li Ya's friend." Ronan reached out, wanting to shake my hand.
But I didn't reach back.
Between his thumb and index finger, he was hiding something that carried a faint, sweet scent. His entire vibe was dark and gloomy, making me incredibly uncomfortable.
Wan Ning gave Li Ying an awkward look.
Let's grab some food from the buffet first.
"We'll talk later," Li Ya said with a smile, pulling me away. Suddenly, a cold shiver ran down my spine. In the mirror ahead, I saw Wan Ling staring at me with murderous eyes. I was certain there was something seriously wrong with him. He might have even killed someone. As I ate, I asked, "So, who exactly is this Wan Lin to you?" Li Ya replied casually. "His parents used to work for my family. The two of us grew up together.
My dad even helped his family start a company. Now he's a deputy manager at my older brother's company." I pressed further.
"What exactly did his parents do? And have you seen him recently? Did you get hurt after seeing him?"
Leah sat up straight.
"Well, aren't you a gossip?
His dad used to be my father's driver, and his mom was our nanny.
Lam Ling used to be my study partner.
I saw him about 2 months ago. There's this faint scar on the side of my palm. I can't quite remember if it had anything to do with him. By the time I noticed it, it was already almost healed."
I had her show me her hand, then gently pinched the scar. Then, I leaned in and sniffed it. Sure enough, there was that same scent I had noticed earlier, though I still didn't know what its purpose was. Leah's face flushed. "Are you just trying to hold my hand?" I was taken aback. "Hold your hand?" Her blush only deepened. I got straight to the point. "I think I figured out how to save you. From now on, you're not allowed to leave my sight.
You're going to be in grave danger very soon."
Leah snapped out of it. "Are you saying there's something wrong with Wan Ling?" I shook my head. "Hard to say.
But he is definitely hiding something.
With that, I glanced over toward the distance. Wan Ling was staring daggers right at me, his eyes full of malice.
Seeing that I was looking back at him, Wang Ming immediately averted his eyes, looking incredibly guilty. He forced a laugh and walked over to some people he knew, chatting away. I just kept eating my food. Leah kept trying to make excuses for Wang Ming, saying he was a top student with excellent character, and that everyone in her family adored him. I didn't say a word the entire time.
Suddenly, Leah asked, "So, if I go to the bathroom, are you going to follow me there too?"
I nodded. "If you trust me, then you better let me follow you." Leah was taken aback.
"I trust you," she said, her tone a bit hard to read.
Even though I suspected Wan Lin, I didn't explain further.
As the saying goes, secrecy brings success, while talk brings failure.
I've never been one to make a scene, so I could only take it one step at a time. After lunch, Leah said she'd take me to check out the building.
On the way, we actually ran into the corpse stitcher.
She had changed back into her female clothes
and was dressed very fashionably.
She was quite surprised to see me and sized Leah up.
"What are you doing here?" the corpse stitcher asked.
"I'm here to help check out the building. What about you?"
"Are you here to stitch corpses?" I asked. She shook her head. "Unless I'm wearing that specific outfit."
"I don't stitch up corpses. Just like you. I was asked to come take a look. After all, this is the Chunlai building in the imperial capital we're talking about. Anyone from the north or south with any real skill will show up." I didn't quite understand, but I remembered her name was Lu Xiaowang. We entered the building together and headed straight to the 11th floor where the incident happened. It was a vast, empty refuge floor, and many masters from all over the country had already arrived.
They were all showing off their skills, holding compasses, jade pendants, and all sorts of bizarre tools. I spotted Daoist Tian
And also saw that shamanic spirit medium.
Some were even swinging rusty kitchen knives, slashing wildly at the empty air. The scene was completely chaotic, yet somehow oddly orderly.
"Mr. Li, I found out." A middle-aged man wearing a tank suit and holding crushed pig bone shards spoke up.
Leah's brother nodded, signaling him to go into detail.
The two of them walked over to the stairwell to talk in private. I deliberately edged closer to them. The middle-aged man whispered,
It looks like we've crossed paths with a Thai black magic master.
"We have to find the person who cast the curse." Leah's brother brushed him off, saying, 50,000 to break the curse and get us home. Suddenly, she turned to me. "What do you?"
Lee asked, looking thoroughly confused.
"Eavesdropping," I replied, completely upfront about it.
Leah stared at me, speechless. Come on, it's not like I can figure out the cause on my own, I said.
"So I might as well hear what they're telling your brother,"
Continued, completely blunt. She looked at me in disbelief. We're so far away. Can you?
Lee, I was speechless, yet absolutely amazed.
I replied, looking totally sincere. Trust me. Fine. You're something else.
Leah nodded. Soon after, several others also concluded that a black magic curse was at play. A few people from the northern factions realized they couldn't handle it and prepared to leave. Among them was Lu Xiaowang. I stopped him and asked about the black magic master. The three of us temporarily left the building. By then, the sky had turned pitch black. If you hadn't been able to see those things, I'd seriously doubt if you've actually had any mystical training at all.
Do you really not know?
Lu Xiaowo asked.
Not really, I replied. I have no idea what he was talking about.
Then how did you know the other guy was a black magic master?
Lu Xiaowang asked, thoroughly puzzled.
I was jobbed.
I said.
Liu Xiaowao, 我是辟邪.
But he still explained. Hexes, poison voodoo, raising spirits, divination, and sorcery.
These 5 categories make up Thai witchcraft. They belong to the unorthodox mystical arts.
Among them, hexes, poison curses, and raising spirits belong to the dark path. They kill without blinking an eye. Our Feng Feng family deals with the fringe path.
If we go up against the black magic master, we'll likely get ourselves killed before we can even break the curse. I chimed in. So basically, you're just saying you can't beat him.
陆下药王如的是爱在.
Li Ya also looked completely speechless.
He added, something major is likely going to happen tonight, and more people will die. I suggest you two get out of here as fast as possible, too. Are you going back to the northeast? Seeing that I remained silent,
Lu Xiaowo asked.
I glanced at Li Ya, shook my head, and said, I promised Ms. Li I'd help her handle this.
I'll head back, once it's all sorted out.
Lu Xiaowang sai.
When I first started out, I was just like you, completely fearless. It wasn't until I ended up getting a loved one killed that I finally stopped playing with fire. As he spoke, he handed me a business card. My family is in This is my home number. If you actually make it back to the northeast alive, give me a call. Before leaving, he added, by the way, I'm really short on cash lately. If you need help with weddings or funerals, you can find me. In the real world, I'm a makeup artist. Corpse teaching is just my side hustle. If you refer any clients to me, I'll give you a 10% discount.
With that, he made a cool, effortless exit.
After Lu Xiaowang left, we didn't go back to the high-rise building. We headed straight back to the Crown Hotel instead. Worried that something might happen to Li Ya, I followed her to her suite. For the first half of the night, we discussed the power struggle. We learned that the Guo family and the Li family have been close for generations, meaning they likely share major business interests. Because of these tight financial ties, I stayed close, sleeping on the sofa for the rest of the night. Suddenly, Li Ya sat straight up in bed like a stiff corpse, once again moving like a puppet on strings. She began walking forward with stiff, mechanical steps. Li Ya! Li Ya! I called out to her, but she didn't react at all. Suddenly, the entire bed began to shake. As soon as Li Ya's feet hit the floor, the door handle of the suite turned on its own. With a loud creak, the door swung open, but there wasn't a single soul outside. Just as I was about to go, check, something pressed hard against my back. Turning around, I saw Li Ya trying to walk out, so I quickly blocked her path. I channeled my Daoist energy, my eyes burning hot with power. And once again, I saw the white threads attached to her body. Remembering Lu Xiaowang's words, I gathered the energy into my hand and grabbed the thread connected to her head. I actually managed to grip it firmly in my hand. As the thread passed through my palm, I felt a powerful, pulling tension, as if someone was plucking a tight string, but it couldn't hurt me at all. What's happening to me? You woke up in shock, your face filled with terror, but your body, completely out of control, pressed up against me. Shh. I found a way to fix this. I made a shushing gesture. One by one, I pulled the strings off her body. The power fluctuating in my hands grew stronger and stronger. Can I move now?
Feng Ying. What do we do now?
Go to the 11th floor of the building, I said. Li Ya's face went pale. Miss Lai, once you go there, you'll get the answers you've been looking for.
I can feel that the person controlling the strings is on the 11th floor.
Okay. Li Ya nodded bravely. We rushed to the building under the cover of night. Right now, the building's main doors were wide open. The lobby was pitch black and completely deserted. The elevator button lit up on its own. The way to the 11th floor was completely clear. As we stepped out of the elevator, sure enough, Guo was standing there. Seeing a Li Ya approach, he roared like a madman. The master is indeed incredible. This woman actually came. Li Ya. Oh, Li Ya, tell me. Why did you never look at me? We grew up together as childhood sweethearts. I was so good to you. Why wouldn't you even spare me a glance? What's going on? A skeletal foreigner in the corner spoke up. He was clearly not one of us. Li, if the circumstances weren't like this, I'd really love to have some fun with you. Right here? You were indeed my heart's desire, but there's nothing I can do. So, just die. With that,
Wang Ling suddenly made a neck-snapping gesture.
But Li Ya just stood there, staring daggers at it.
Wang Ling panicked.
He looked toward the master in the corner. Why isn't she dead yet? The skeletal middle-aged man stood up and gasped in horror. Something's not right.
The hex isn't on this woman.
It's someone else.
Rowan shuddered violently. What do you mean? The black magic master pointed at Li Ya and screamed.
He's not under my control.
He's fully conscious. Rowan was completely dumbfounded, with a face full of fury.
Li Ya glared at her.
Wang Lin,
Why? Why did you do this? You're fine. How is that even possible?
Wang Lin was too stunned to speak another word. I had absolutely no interest in their grudges. I grabbed a brick from the ground and channeled my spiritual energy into it,
Silently chanting the mantra under my breath.
I lunged forward like lightning. I rushed right up to the black magic master and smashed the brick into his head, knocking him out cold on the spot.
The dark energy channeling through his hands instantly vanished.
Fearing he might be playing dead, I hit him with the brick one more time.
Only after making sure he wouldn't wake up did I finally relax.
You're that guy from the Northeast.
How is this possible?
The master is a legendary Thai hex master. How could he be knocked out by a simple brick?
Recognizing me, Wang Lin stared, completely dumbstruck.
I didn't bother replying. Wang Lin was a murderer. There was no need to waste my breath on her. Silently chanting move once more, I dashed over and knocked her out with a single brick blow as well.
Is that it? I haven't even questioned her yet.
Leah stared in utter disbelief. Question her about what? I asked in confusion. Like why she wanted to harm our family. Leah replied, oh, that's easy. Once she wakes up, I'll make her confess everything with her own mouth. But as for right now probably isn't the best time for questions.
What if she has some dark artifacts on her? Or has laid cursed traps around here?
Wouldn't that just give them another chance to strike?
I was slightly puzzled, but then realized she had a point. Li Ya nodded, her heart still pounding with fear.
Li Ya immediately called her older brother. In less than 20 minutes, her brother arrived with his men.
Seeing the unconscious Wang Lin and the hex master, he frowned and ordered his men to tie them up securely.
After listening to Li Ya's explanation,
Her brother was both shocked and furious. Still trembling with lingering fear, he said,
I can't believe things like hex masters actually exist.
it's truly terrifying.
Leah looked over at me and said to her older brother, Brother, this time, it's all thanks to Feng Ning.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be seeing me alive again. Li Ya's brother nodded. Master Feng, thank you so much. I heard you have a way to make them tell the truth?
I replied, I do, but we have to wait for them to wake up first.
Also, I'll need you to prepare a few things for me. Yellow paper, cinnabar, black dog's blood, a writing brush, and some yellow soil. The dirt from around a local earth god temple or city god temple would be best.
Li Ya's brother nodded.
All right, you two go get some rest first. I'll have someone prepare these right away.
Leah and I went back to the Crown Hotel
And stayed in the same suite as before. I lay on the sofa with my eyes closed, resting.
Suddenly, Li Ya spoke up. You're not just trying to squeeze more money out of us.
And deliberately playing tricks by asking for all those things, are you?
Don't worry. You'll get every cent of the 100,000 yuan.
And my brother will definitely give you some extra.
I'm guessing 200,000. I was taken aback. Miss Lee, do you really think I'm that money grubbing?
But she just shot back.
Aren't you? You scammed someone out of a bell worth over 100 million yuan. I was a first-hand witness.
I was utterly speechless. Then I explained, this time, it's really not about me wanting those things.
I need them to draw a truth talisman.
Li Ya smirked. I don't believe you. I was totally speechless.
Believe what you want, then.
It tilted my head and looked at Leah on the bed.
She was staring right back at me.
Then she huffed angrily. Stop looking!
I pulled the blanket over my head and slept until dawn.
After having our buffet breakfast, Leah's brother drove over in person to pick us up and take us to a villa.
Inside the villa were Leah's parents, as well as the tightly bound accomplice, Wang Lin, and the head-lowering master.
Both of them had already woken up and were staring at everyone with pure hatred in their eyes.
The moment the head-lowering master saw me, he began screaming in rage.
The masters we had met before on the 11th floor were also there,
including Daoist Chen.
His eyes lit up when he saw me.
Master Feng, it seems even I, Mr. Li, completely misjudged you.
To think you actually captured a Thai head-lower master? You've saved us a massive amount of trouble. They're still refusing to tell the truth. I hear you have a way to make them talk.
Leah's father leaned on his cane as he sat in his chair, his attitude toward me clearly softening.
Of course I do.
Otherwise, why would I even be here?
Still, his past high and mighty attitude rubbed me the wrong way.
Everyone in the room exchanged uneasy glances,
But I didn't care.
I picked up my materials and began drawing the truth talismans. To draw a truth talisman, you must place the yellow paper on raw earth, dip the brush in Black Dog's blood first, then in cinnabar,
and write the truth incantation upside down. The self-proclaimed experts in the room began whispering among themselves, some of them wearing looks of pure disdain.
I ignored them completely. I drew 5 of them in total.
I slipped 3 into my pocket
and slapped the other 2 onto Wang Lin and the Black Magic Master after chanting the spell.
1 minute later,
The 2 of them were so drowsy, they could barely keep their eyes open.
I turned to Leah's older brother and said, Go ahead, ask them. Leah's brother stepped forward to interrogate them.
The truth quickly came to light. Wang Lin had always wanted to marry into the Li family as a live-in son-in-law.
but he was rejected. That rejection bred deep resentment in him. He colluded with the Li family's archenemies, who were the ones who hired the Black Magic Master. The young man who died was the son of one of the Li family's business partners. Wengelin had used a specialized blade coated with anesthetic to harvest his blood and hand it over to the Black Magic Master. The other two victims were completely innocent, killed, only to blow the whole thing out of proportion and target Li Ye. Ruining the building's reputation was a critical step in bringing down the Li family.
I couldn't help but think how ungrateful Wang Lin was, biting the hand that fed him.
If it weren't for the Li family, his entire family would never have gained a foothold in the imperial capital. Once the matter was resolved,
Lia's father handed me 500,000 yuan.
It apologized to me. I didn't turn it down,
accepting it without hesitation.
My skills were well worth that price.
Later on, I heard the Li family made a ruthless move,
Sending Wan Lin's parents and the Black Magic Master to northern Malaysia overnight.
As for their ultimate fate, I have no idea.